wheel.
I'm going to talk about the wheel of life. Take a step back and tell us what the mission is first.
I don't want there to be a single Muslim left in the lands of the
What do you mean? Fawaz, mission, chat to me. We are 10, brother.
10.
Really?
Mission right now is solid.
What is your mission?
My mission is...
I'm British first, Muslim second. I can't help you.
But you see, subconsciously, you start operating at that level as well. Doctors have said the majority of the time, cancer patients don't lose. It's not their body that gives up on them first. They give up in the mind, and then their body followed accordingly.
Do you think that you have to be a bit delusional?
If I'm 32 years old, if I say I'll be delusional and I want to be the best UFC fighter,
It's possible.
No,
Very highly improbable.
I think it's impossible.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as impossible.
Especially bro, it's Allah who decides.
We can't talk over each other.
You know, I genuinely tell people, bruv, if I put my mind to it, bruv, I'll smoke LeBron.
It's delusional gang
Yeah,
up here.
let me-
The illusional or whatever the opposite is.
explain it.
Before we jump back into the podcast, I need to share something with you that changed everything for me. Last year was one of the hardest years of my life. My health was at an all-time low. I had constant fatigue, brain fog, massive weight gain. My marriage, it was the hardest year of my married life. My business, I had setback after setback. Even my salah was suffering due to the lack of khushu' and my seeking knowledge. I was in a terrible place until I sat down with the Muslim entrepreneur coach on this podcast, namely Brother Fawaz. And he made a bold claim. He said, I help Muslim entrepreneurs make 10x more money whilst working 4 times less, at the same time showing them how to thrive in their marriages, in their health, and in their religion. Truth be told, it was a bold claim. I wasn't entirely convinced, but what's a man to do when he's desperate? I needed a solution. So I joined his Live by Design mentorship. And I can swear to you by Allah, it changed everything for me with Allah's permission. I am now making more money than ever before. I am also working less. In fact, I work very few hours, but the Live by Design program has showed me how I can get a week's worth of work done in just a few hours every single day. I feel healthier than ever before. I'm turning up better than ever before. My family is happy with me. And my salah is back. And my seeking of knowledge is thriving with Allah's permission. And just to be clear, I'm not the only one. One of Fawaz's mentees on his program was making just 13K a month while struggling in his life. Just 6 months later is doing $500,000 a month. Allah Mabarak. So here's the truth. If you're a Muslim entrepreneur that's making at least 100K every year, but you know that you're operating far from your actual potential and these other areas of your life that are very important are struggling, then Fawaz's Live by Design mentorship might just be the thing for you. But please be warned. It's not easy, nor is it cheap. But if you're ready to live a life that you design with Allah's permission, then check out the link below in the description of this video. This is the program that changed my life with Allah's permission. And it might just change yours as well, inshallah. With that said, let's get back into the podcast. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Child Mobile. We have the illustrious panel to my right. We've got Sam Amin, the Mughal of the real estate scene. Allah Barak. How you doing, Akhi?
Alhamdulillah.
Everything well?
Everything's great.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Abu Bakr, the main man.
Just
over there. Huh?
Just Abu Bakr.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Guys, make sure you're checking out his podcast, Road to Hijrah. It should already be out by the time this podcast is out. And then we've got Fawaz, the CEO provocateur. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm chilling.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I'm back and always missed.
Talk about
Mr. Abbas.
that.
Allah Barak. You become really busy recently.
Yeah.
So much so you know, don't need to reply to people's messages anymore.
No, I've changed. I was saying this outside. Basically, for the last 2 years, my reply rate has decreased. But now I'm replying to every message. If you send me a haha, I'm sending you a haha back. If you send me a laughing emoji, I'm sending you a laughing emoji back.
You know what?
That's it. I'm having no open bubbles on my WhatsApp.
Allah Barak. Loads of people got in touch with me recently saying, Abbas doesn't respond anymore.
Even I've got a message. I think I forwarded it to you, right?
And it's funny because Abbas was the guy that would always respond. And he would always be upset when people, Abu Bakr, couldn't respond. But mashallah, tabarakallah. Anyway, guys, look. Today, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to introduce 2 segments to Child Mabai. Obviously, as you guys can see, that the way that we do the podcast and the formatting, we're developing it. We're trying to find the right one, inshallah ta'ala. So the first segment is going to be Spill the Tea. Spill the chai. That's where we get deep and personal about our lives, our experiences, our growth, because obviously we want the audience to grow with us. because we're growing week in, week out. And I think it's a travesty people to not have that insight onto the things that we're doing in terms of deen, entrepreneurship, relationship, health, whatnot, so on and so forth, because no week is like the week before. And if people had an insight into some of the stuff that we're doing, we've always mentioned many a time, that they would see a lot of value. So that's really what the first segment is. Then the second segment is going to be what's brewing. Guys are getting the references to the tea. What's brewing? And Bakr, inshallah, is going to lead that. We talk about what's happening in the world that affects Muslims. Bakr, are you going to take that, inshallah?
Let's do it, inshallah.
Lovely. But before we get into it, I do want to mention one thing. So we are going to be doing a live child bye-bye.
Really?
With a very special panel, inshallah ta'ala. And we will have an alternating panel, 5 people on it in one given time. Of course, those that are sitting here. Plus, we will have Zarir and Gabriel Romani. And maybe one or two others. We're going to do this live.
That sounds dangerous.
Inshallah. So at the time this video comes out, there may be a link in the description, or it might just be last minute. The whole idea and objective is that you get to see a live child bye. And also after that, we will have a networking session in a very pristine location where those that are in the audience, only a select few will be able to have access to the panel and we'll be able to talk. You can ask Sam about investments, making money in real estate. You can talk to Fawaz about how to fix your bloody life.
So just to confirm, when you say live, you don't mean live stream. You mean live in person.
Live in person audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in person audience. Yeah, here.
I thought you meant in person. I was about to say with
No, in
that kind
person.
of panel would be
In person.
Yeah.
No, it is in person.
No, I mean like,
As in
I
for the
thought you
audience, the audience will be there physically.
meant live
Yes.
stream.
Yeah, you happy?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
So it'll be an event, and then inshallah ta'ala we'll have some extra
That's what you
features.
call yellow.
Yeah.
Read the book, that's
okay.
yellow.
No, I thought you were going to say that's like moving fast. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
No, but
Just to be
yellows
clear-
move fast.
just to be clear,
Idea to
Execution.
No, it's not execution.
No,
Until
no,
the
no,
start
no,
of
not-
execution
not-
is yellow.
reds
and then
move fast,
They give it to the blue.
They start
execute
execution, and then
and then we
And then you just sit
we
back and
delegate.
just
And we
they
delegate.
delegate.
We delegate.
delegate or abdicate.
We delegate.
Delegate
No,
or abdicate.
delegate.
Depending on your...
By the way, I'm a red yellow. I'm a
Lead-
yellow.
leadership
Sorry, I'm a
style.
yellow red. I'm more yellow, but I got the red.
And then midway, they're gonna be like, okay, I think this is better.
This is next week's episode. This is next week's episode.
These guys are referring to a book
think
called
red
Surrounded
yellow
by
is-
Idiots.
is
And
more-
sometimes I feel like that
Red
because
yellow.
I haven't read the book.
You think
So
I'm
it
more
may
red
just
than
be,
No.
they're making a new race war.
no,
Yellow, red,
I don't
blue.
know.
They're
I
trying
don't
to fight
think-
each other.
Okay,
Bro,
wait,
the funny
no
thing
need.
is, bro,
Racism.
Let's
All right.
The book Surrounded by Idiots,
Yeah.
he mentions that if you believe you're surrounded by idiots, you are
I'm the idiot. Yeah, it's
yourself.
true. It's true. Yeah.
Shit.
No, that's what I'm saying because I haven't
Oh,
read
it's
the book.
wonky,
innit?
yeah? You know what, let's just get into... Oof, it is bad. You're right. I can feel it. All right, anyway, guys, let's get into the
So
first...
the
segment.
camera operator must show you, he was stressing like everyone's talking. So he's like, who should I put on the screen? Like these guys are talking, these guys are talking, these guys are talking.
All right, guys,
He's
it's time for the first segment. Spill the tea. Spill the chai.
Wow. This is starting to feel like a real podcast.
Wheel-
Whoa, whoa,
I'm
whoa.
going to talk about the wheel of life today. All right, so I'm going to pass this to you guys, and they can see it on screen. I'll explain it to you as I pass it to you, inshallah ta'ala. The whole objective, as you guys
Oh,
can
are
see...
we-
No,
we'll share it?
they're just two, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You guys share.
Oh, okay.
So, there are 3 parts to our lives that are broken down into 3 parts each. There is your work, then there is your health, and there are your relationships. And then we're going to add joy as the 4th thing because it just wouldn't fit in the circle.
So just to interrupt, because the blue in me would like to know,
Please.
are we doing anything about this fire alarm, or are we just going to sit here and carry on as if
We're
there's
just
no
gonna
fire
grind
and
this
just crack on?
We're
We're going to crack on now.
Okay, come on.
Fuck, I love it. We're going to crack on.
All right. So as you're sitting there, if you do see smoke in that window, just let us know so we know to evacuate the building.
Yeah, you will know by my feet.
Don't look at my eyes. Red man, every man for himself.
Go on.
Anyway, so look, there's 3 sections to our lives.
Okay.
Well, 4 if you include joy. It just didn't look. It just didn't look nice in the circle. By the way, just in all transparency, I got this from Ali Abdal. Right? I made some tweaks to it though.
Okay.
One. So there's your work, which breaks down into your mission, your money, and your growth.
Okay.
Then there's your relationships, which breaks down into your romance, which is with your wife, your spouse, your family, and your friends.
Okay.
And then there is your health, which breaks down into your iman, your spiritual health first and foremost, your mind and your body.
Okay.
Then there's your joy. Now, in order for you to have a balanced life, of course, iman being the most important thing, in order for you to have a balanced life, the kind of life that Fawaz teaches us to have, Allahumma barik, all of these have to be thriving. But there's going to be different points when these are, some of these are thriving and others are not. And this is obviously an opportunity for us to kind of just reflect and ask ourselves, also the audience, but which parts of their lives are they struggling with, and then set some game plans to fix it, which I'm sure Fawaz is going to have something to say about. So I'm going to leave that part to him, inshallah ta'ala. But I think what we can do right now It's just quickly, and we don't have to be too precise, which I know is going to really, really hurt Abu Bakr because he is a blue and he wants to really just make sure he gets the numbers precise.
He started tweaking when you said that.
Let's just quickly go through the 4 categories and just rate them out of 10, work out who's struggling where, and then let's just have a bit of a deep conversation. Why are we struggling in these areas? So look, we'll leave health for the end because I think health is wealth, right? As they say.
Mm-hmm.
And the only ones that we save in the day of judgment are those who come to Allah with a sound heart. So we'll leave that to the end. So let's start with work. Just before we jump back into the podcast, I need to share something with you that's been weighing heavy on my heart for a few years. For years, you guys have asked me, is there a real way to make massive, passive wealth without touching ribaa? And truth be told, I didn't have a good answer for you. Most options available just seem like ribaa that's been rebranded as halal mortgages. And if the option is halal, then it's usually too risky, too scammy, or too slow. And then I came across Brother Sam Amin, who has $100 million of Muslim investor money invested in real estate. And this blew my mind. Here we have a guy who's helping people become multimillionaires through investing in real estate without ribaa. When I heard about it, I didn't jump on the opportunity straight away. I actually investigated it and I observed the brother for over a year. I met his investors that have made millions on the back of investing with him. One of his investors actually is an uncle who had humble savings that now have compounded into $7 million plus, Allah Barik, in just a few years. His deal structure is actually amazing. You enter into a joint venture with him and his team manage it 100%. Within 2 years, you're expected to receive a 50% return on your investment, Allah Barik, and there's no haram. It honestly got really emotional for me because we now have a vehicle that doesn't compromise your deen, nor does it compromise your ambition. So that's why I felt compelled to share this good news with you. So look, if you're serious about wealth creation and you have at least $100,000 liquid ready to invest and deploy within 30 days, and you want your money to move, you want it to multiply without any haram, then Sam's newest development project here in Dubai might just be your ticket to generational wealth. Now, if this appeals to you, it's important that you know that over $5 million has already been committed to this fund. And this round is going to be closing very soon, inshallah. I've placed the link to apply to invest in his fund in the description of this video below. Alhamdulillah, this opportunity is real, and so is the window. With that said, let's get back into the podcast. In terms of mission, Abu Bakr, how are you in terms of the mission, your life's mission out of 10? And you guys can all start thinking about these numbers.
Right now, I would say a solid 9 because this podcast is something that I've just come, remember, into this room, having just done 2 back-to-back episodes. One with Abbas, one with Nu'man. Both of them, akhi, wallahi, I genuinely believe will be game changers.
Really?
We discuss so many pertinent things.
Take a step back and tell us what the mission is first. And
For me, the mission is, you want to hear the mission? Akhi, I don't want there to be a single Muslim left in the lands of the kuffar. I want every single Muslim that's there with their wealth, their skills, to come to the countries of the Muslims. Spirit, to help them with their spirituality, to help them with their economy, everything. Like if we can get every single Muslim out of the UK, America, Canada, etc., Europe, into the Muslim countries. Funny, EDO guys, if they're watching this, they're like, this guy, vote him for Prime Minister. I don't want it. I won't take it. But that's my...
No, they get offended when you say that. It's weird. They get offended when you say leave the country.
It's the wrong frame, innit?
It's only for them to say leave the country.
No, they don't want
you to leave. They want to kick you out, exactly.
But then it's like, I don't want you to resign. I want to fire you.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, this podcast that we're doing, I feel like...
Which is?
It's called The Road to Hijrah. It's going to be out by the time this comes out, inshallah. First episode should be out. And it's, number one, to inspire Muslims to have that aspiration in the first place. Number two, show you the how. Teach you the mechanics. Give you all the information that when I was moving, I wish I had.
Jameel.
So that's that. Also, I mentioned, right, the brother Mustafa, I forgot his name. Mustafa Ali. I think online it's called Mustafa Online, if I'm not mistaken. And he talks a lot about doing hijrah to Oman and whatnot.
Oh, yes.
We had a very productive call, an hour, a couple of days ago. He's got a project upcoming. And I said, bro, I would love to be part of it. And that also is something that's going to help people to do hijrah. So I feel like right now,
you sure you can handle that project right now?
Say that again?
You sure you can handle another project right now?
As what he wants from me is he wants me to do one live with him.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to cut it up.
As long as you're able to commit.
Yeah. But
then that's when the mission starts to fall.
I seen the project.
For me, what's important for me is not... I don't care about who's achieving the mission. If I get 0 credit, I don't care about that. Like, for me, it's not about who's there. I'm just happy that there's guys out there that are actively on the. And I'm actually starting to see more and more people. Like Ben, for example, from 3-on-3 Real Men, the original Badr club that we launched. He's now moved to Bahrain.
Yeah.
He's showing people what it is, how it's like, the life. And I'm starting to see a lot more people like that. There's a guy in Qatar doing the similar thing. There's guys now in Egypt. Now guys, this is how, like,
there's a guy in Pakistan that's making videos about Dubai. He's moved from the UK to Pakistan, and he's making content to people doing comparisons between Dubai and UK. It's so funny.
So my point is, the mission right now feels strong, and I feel like I'm solidified.
It does feel strong, and I think it's a very important mission, because one thing that you have to realize, bro, is that I remember it's actually Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned this to me many years ago. He's like, look, if you take your kid and you throw him in the water and you say, don't get wet, you set him up for failure. That's what it's like living in the West. That's what it's like. Well, his example was public school, but I'm now extending that analogy towards the West. For you to say to Muslims, be on your deen, right? Be on your deen to the level that's required of you. And we're not talking about exceptions here. People love to always bring exceptions to the table, and the deen is not based on exceptions. I actually remember someone had sent me a message once on Facebook many years ago saying, look, if I drink 2 glasses of wine, I don't get tipsy. So does that mean I'm allowed to drink? And I was like, no, of course not. There's a principle in the Sharia which the scholars have had for centuries, which is an-nadir la hukma la, that the exception, the anomaly, like this, even in statistics they teach you this, that the anomaly, you don't base any rulings.
Exceptions don't change the rules.
Yeah, it's an anomaly. It's an anomaly. So if you're 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 brothers, or sorry, Ustad Abu Taymiyyah, I love, but with all due respect, one neighborhood or a couple neighborhoods in the Midlands, for example,
that are decent, not thriving.
Yeah, decent, not thriving. That's an exception, right? It's an exception, and the only way to really solve this is can you say exodus, mass exodus, or is an exodus when you're forced out?
I don't know, but either way,
a mass exodus. Jamil, Fawaz, mission, chat to me. Where you are at 10, brother?
10 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you live by design, so you had to be at 10.
Now the mission right now is solid.
What is your mission?
Wallahi, a couple of things, right? I'm going to break all of them down. And they all, the big thing about the concept of design as well, everything should link with each other.
Love
right? So romance, family, friends, iman, mind, body, growth, money should all align with the mission, right? That's why it's so important to set that first.
Okay.
So right now for me, my mission is to make sure I bring the best out of every single Muslim. Like I make every bit of potential in them come out, right? Now that has certain phases, there's stuff that we're going to be dropped for the general public. There's people we want to work with strategically, leaders, to ensure that that they are at the highest potential, because if the leaders are at the highest, then everyone underneath is at the highest as well, right? So for me, my mission is to the way there's Ronaldo is the Ronaldo of football. Like when you think of football, even speak to a person who doesn't know football, he knows Ronaldo. I want to be the Ronaldo of performance, right? Of potential. Every single successful Muslim man leader, at one stage I sat down with him and he took counsel from me. Like that's the goal. That's the mission, that we cause change, right?
So like Tony Robbins of the Muslim scene.
Yes, but even
bigger.
Way bigger.
Because he's had presidents sit with him.
Yes, I'm talking exactly government level, every single thing. We allow people to thrive. That's our thing. In all areas of their life, they thrive. So that's the mission.
Do you believe that with Allah's mission, you can actually achieve that for us?
Wallahi, there's no doubt in my heart. Like, sometimes people think, nah. Wallahi, no doubt.
Do you think that you have to be a bit delusional to be successful?
I think you have to be a little crazy and weird.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can't. Because in order to dream big, like what Fawaz's dream is, I think for anyone not a little bit crazy, they cannot dream that big. You have to be a little bit crazy.
But is there a thread in you that has a thought? I'll use myself as an example, right? I've said to you, I want every single Muslim out. But in the back of my mind is like, brother, there's coconuts. I can't unite for you, bro. If you're there, fish and chips, I'm British through and through, whatnot. But I'm British first, Muslim second. I can't help you.
But you see what that thread entails is subconsciously you start operating at that level as well. This is the problem. When you think delusionally, you can operate in a delusional manner, right? When you think, and that's why you see some people are just at it, bruv. Like their mission is real. Even sometimes he's talking garbage, but because he believes in it that much, his actions are going to align. Subconsciously, when you have doubt in things, there's going to be doubt within your actions as well. There's doubt within your behavior.
I disagree to some degree because I feel like by having a completely delusional goal and your actions are, as you said, delusional, you can end up taking the wrong action because you are thinking delusionally.
I think delusional is not the
right word. Okay, so maybe it's the word delusion.
With all of you, every single one of you, I disagree. You have to have, okay. So I've spoken about this many times, right? But if you had to fight in UFC, would you go in thinking, I might lose this fight? You can't. You have to go in thinking, I'm going to destroy this guy. I'm going to topple this guy. I'm going to flip him over on his head. I'm going to make sure everyone in his lineage, his entire family, everybody's going to fear me. They're going to hear my name and they're going to be like, whoa, he's the guy who beat the snot out of my dad. You have to believe that going in. You can't have an ounce of doubt. But I watched fights, where I know the guy he doesn't believe that he's going to win this fight. And he ends up losing anyway.
You can see it clearly.
Yeah, I can tell that his head's turned. He's doubtful.
But that's what
you
I mean
have to be delusional enough to believe you can win.
Majority of the times, you lose the battle in the mind before you lose.
Exactly.
Even cancer. This is an interesting point I actually want to bring up.
Belief effects.
SubhanAllah, you know my neighbor, may Allah have mercy on her, she had cancer.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor, she started practicing, alhamdulillah, before she passed, and she became really serious. And I remember she was talking to my mum, and she was talking about how they only had 6 months to live. Allah, she looked at my mum and she chuckled. Like, what do they know?
Yeah.
They told me she lived years after that. Years after that. And it was severe, her case. And doctors have said, I've had the conversation with doctors, you know what they say? They said majority of the time, cancer patients don't lose. It's not their body that gives up on them first. They gave up in the mind and then their body followed accordingly.
I agree with that.
Those are called belief effects.
Abbas, I believe the example that you gave,
well, right?
I don't really feel like it's accurate what we're talking about because that's not delusional. Because in MMA, there's a weight class that you have to make. So, you're on roughly evil.
What is delusion?
In order to actually even enter into a fight, you have to have certain history, professional, amateur, whatnot. We're talking delusion. We're talking a guy goes into a ring with a gorilla and says, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to beat him. His gorilla children lineage is going to say this guy.
If he has to go into the ring with that gorilla, he better think that way.
He has to think.
That's my point. It's not. If he has to go, if that's going to be his mission.
So we're not discussing what we're talking about as if you give it as an analogy, wouldn't be you're thrown into the ring with a gorilla because here you choose your mission.
Yeah.
You're choosing, should I fight the gorilla and say, he's the biggest, strongest target. I'm going to go into the ring with him. Or, you know what? Should I fight a crocodile? He's a bit slower. I can get around behind him, get on top of him. Maybe.
No, but one second.
But if you aim for the gorilla, you start with the crocodile. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, I'm not. I'm not one saying that I have to fight the gorilla today.
Do you understand? Train for it.
Look, I'll give you context.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'll give you context. Yeah. So I was sitting with Alam Bedik and bleep his name out just because of the thing that I'm going to mention. So he gave me some really good news, man. He said that. Now Alam Bedik, he doesn't take any sales calls. He's got a sales team, and they hit the $500,000 a month mark in terms of monthly recurring revenue. Alam Bedik, and he was like, bro, my calendar, I had a call in there, which I was confused about because I was like, bro, I don't take any sales calls anymore, and I missed the call. Because then the lead followed me up because it's got my number because of all the automations that go through. He's like, hey, we missed a call. Can we get on a call? And then he was like, wait, I just remembered. I only allowed calls to come through to me for people that are spending $500,000 a month already on. Do you understand? $500,000 a month already. So he's like, so I got on the call and I said, and as I was speaking, I was doing the discovery. He said, and I said to the guy, so you spend $500,000. He goes, no. Because that was just the only option that was on the form. I spend $1 million a week. So he was saying that his profit, as in not his company, but just his take home, was going to be $200,000 on a $500,000 a month spend. Alam Bedik. Imagine what it's going to be on $1 million a week. He closed the guy that night, Alam Bedik, and sent him the contract. The guy was following up on the contract. And he said to me, Imran, because I remember he said this to me in Ramadan when we met. And then he repeated it again. I didn't get it in Ramadan, but I got it now. He goes, you have to be delusional. Because I got into this game as a 19-year-old, bro, in the pharmaceutical industry, bro, where you're competing with Zionists. And Zionists are regularly trying to shut him down till today. He's like, bro, I had to be delusional. And now it made sense to me when he said to me, I'm trying to build my business model off of what Rockefeller did, which is to own every single vertical in my industry, which is also what you're trying to do, right? I'm like, I get it. And there's no way he could have been seeing the kind of results if he wasn't a delusional 16-year-old kid who said, bro, I want to drop out of high school to just sell some legal drugs. So I don't know, man. I do feel like that level of delusion needs to be.
So I feel like it's more of a mental thing. It sounds like it's more. Some people need to have a thought in their mind that this is it, and I know, as you say, reach for the stars. At least you catch a tree. If you're not even reaching for the tree, you're gonna catch flipping dead fruit on the ground. Yeah. So if you need to have that as a mental thing, I guess. But I thought maybe it's a blue thing.
Maybe. Look,
I don't need to have a delusional target.
Fundamentally, what we're trying to come to is that, for example, with what Sam managed to do, which is this investment thing, right? Where people are investing money into real estate in a way that's halal, without ribaa, and they're making massive gains. People have said this stuff. You know, the model that you're doing was mentioned to me like 10 years ago, and I brushed it off like, bro, it's not possible. But imagine you're trying to create a system in the real estate market that is in complete opposite to the direction everyone's going, which is ribaa. You're fighting the institution of ribaa, the system. Do you understand? You've got to be delusional for that.
I think what Abu Bakr is saying and what you brothers are saying, I think what I'm trying to find the balance here. I think, for example, if I'm 32 years old, if I say I'll be delusional and I want to be the best UFC fighter that ever walked on this face of the earth, is it possible?
It's possible.
No,
it's very highly improbable.
I think it's impossible.
Totally disagree with you. Yeah. There's no such thing as impossible or possible. Especially not.
Bro, can I be LeBron James
when you're talking about the future?
Okay, let me.
Bro, it's Allah who decides.
Context, guys,
Allah is the one who's going to give it, and Allah is the one who takes it from people. You have no idea about what's coming in the future.
You know, I genuinely tell people, bruv, if I put my mind to it, bruv, I'll smoke LeBron.
There you go.
I don't give a rat. I don't give a rat.
Welcome to the gang.
Let me explain it though. Let me explain it.
Delusional gang. The illusional or whatever the opposite is.
Let me explain it though, yeah?
You're not allowed on this side.
But you understand what I'm saying, bro, right?
Here's the second part.
I think it's just not worth pursuing, man.
I'm going to explain it though. Here's the second part.
Yeah.
You know,
they never want to hear the side.
Yeah.
I understand what you're talking about.
No, I'm going to introduce the second part. I'm going to introduce the second part.
His point,
of course, to his point,
Allah's permission,
anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, we can part.
Can I
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is important.
Go on, do it.
I'm not gonna try play basketball with the guy in the normal way.
Yeah, like first date.
Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna try beat him in a basketball way.
What are you gonna do? Pull up with a gun, shoot him before the match, and then just.
Bro, like I said I'll smoke him. I never said how. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is my way. For example, one of my old clients back when I used to work, I was like, Ak, you're 50 years old. Truth be told, you starting the whole entrepreneurial journey. You're wasting your time. Can you make $1 million? Yes. He goes, yeah, but I'm 50. I don't think I goes, you need to be smart. You need to grab somebody with energy, leverage his energy. Let's not be foolish here. You ain't got the same focus you did. You don't have the same body, the same mind that you always did. Okay? But this is where, how can we achieve this goal with our current situation? The same way I'd look at myself as a 32-year-old man. If it's true in my heart that I want to be the best UFC, I need to ask myself, in what ways, what things can I do, considering my current situation to be the best UFC fighter?
So you just proved it.
Yeah. You just proved what I said.
That 50-year-old, he said to you, I want to be an entrepreneur. You said to him, realistically, it's
I told you
didn't say realistically
in that way. So he'll have to do it in a different way, slightly lesser way, but he still did it. That's the exact point he was saying.
No, my contention is with the word impossible. I don't like the word impossible.
And I agree with that.
I don't like that.
Yeah. He said
no, I retracted that.
Okay.
So possible we can part.
We're not fighting, bro.
I'm saying
we don't get retracted.
I'm tapping out of this conversation. There's no one understood what I said.
No, we can't talk over each other, number one, but I do want him to finish his point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the point is, bro, we can part Red Sea.
Yeah.
We can part Red Sea if Allah allows. Yes. Allah gives permission. But I'm saying, from what we know, from the data, I think in worldly sense, I cannot be LeBron James if I start right now.
True.
And it would be foolish of me to think that I can be and spend next 20 years doing that, where I could be doing something that's plausible.
And
this is all I'm
for
saying.
example, you might say, I'm going to be the richest,
that's 100%
most
possible.
successful real estate guy.
100% possible. Even for a 60-year, that's possible.
This is what we refer to.
Delusion.
That's
Choose your delusion.
No, as it's
This is what we refer to as engineer thinking.
Yeah.
I think in design. All right. So designers, what's the whole concept of engineer thinking versus design? Designers, we never say nothing impossible. We just reframe. We say, how can we make this possible? Does that make sense? So for me, I feel like you just throwing this out there.
Okay.
You're blew up.
If you think so.
Yeah. Even the way your eyes are moving, the way you assess, you're analyzing.
If you think so.
Check out exactly what you're saying.
No, I'm not.
From an engineer's perspective.
No, I'm just saying that.
He probably has
He didn't find
engineer and design thinking. That's fine.
He didn't find it. It's just across his blue. Anyway.
Basically, no. I just don't think that you have to think about your own thoughts. I think that's a level of like
metacognition.
Is that what that's
That's
called?
what it's
Right?
called, yeah.
You have to think about the thoughts that serve you and the thoughts that don't. And I think thinking in terms of this is impossible, this is not possible, or this is unlikely. Even words like that, I don't like that. I want to try and see if it's going to work out for me. Of course, some things are not going to work out, and I have to accept that and be realistic about it. Sure, but I'm not going to preemptively say this isn't going to work until I've at least given it a try. I have to at least shoot for it.
What's the opposite of delusion?
There's 3 kinds of belief. I think this is interesting.
What's the opposite of delusion?
No idea.
So what is delusion? Is that something isn't a reality, but you believe with conviction that it is.
So what's the opposite of that?
So the opposite would
Being
be
overly realistic.
So I would say you need to have a realistic delusion.
Wow.
All right, Jimmy.
Rigid flexibility.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
You need to have a realistic delusion.
I agree
3 kinds of belief, right?
Yeah, dry rain.
Okay. We have to move to second, guys. So when it comes to the other 2 in work, money and growth, which one do you think you're struggling with the most right now? Out of 10, which would you rate the lowest, Sam?
Out of money and growth?
Yeah.
Growth always.
Right? So where are you in terms of growth right now?
I always feel like I'm at a 2.
That's crazy.
2. Yeah. Because the players that you meet in the field, for example, Sheikh, I was just I'm reading and revising, right? Blackstone, how they started, there were 2 co-founders, Stephen Schwarzman and
Do you mean BlackRock?
Blackstone.
What's Blackstone?
That's the
Blackstone's
largest.
the original.
The Blackstone is the original, and it's the largest real estate fund, 1.2 trillion.
Okay.
BlackRock is the largest fund, but not the largest real estate. And actually, the original is Blackstone. Then they split off, and kind of BlackRock came.
Pete Peterson.
Yes, Pete Peterson. So Pete Peterson and Stephen Schwarzman co-founded Blackstone. Right. Their investment out of pocket was $400,000 each.
That's it.
Then when Blackstone went public and Pete retired and went outside, like he's not part of the company anymore, he exited, his check was $1.9 billion. Pete's from $400,000 to $1.9 billion.
Crazy.
The funds that they were raising in the beginning, of course, it was a very hard, but I forgot which life insurance company, I think MetLife, came and gave them $100 million check in the beginning, right? So in terms of growth, Sheikh, nobody's giving me $100 million check. People are struggling. I'm saying one check amount, people are struggling. The highest check I got was $1.5 million from one individual. So I have not gone past that. So my growth is very limited. So for people to trust me with a $1.6 million check, individual, I'm saying, not company, it has not happened yet. So I'm a no one in terms of the growth potential that's out there in my field.
So then do you have like a milestone of like a certain check you're trying to work towards from one particular person?
I want to beat Blackstone. Because
you want more than $100 million check.
Yeah, I want more than $100 million check because they are $1.2 trillion fund. Out of that, $800 billion is in real estate, completely leveraged. If they're raising $1 from an investor, $3 is borrowed from the bank. I want the whole $4 raised from capital, from Muslim capital.
So then, fundamentally, what's your strategy to try and get to that?
Bro, you just reset my whole standard for growth.
Yeah, it's Sheikh. We think we might be the biggest fish in the smallest pond.
Yeah. Week to week, I see his growth. When I said 1.
He's a 2.
1 or 2.
He's saying 1 or 2.
Yeah. So
0 point something. What is this, bro? Allah Barik, man.
Allah Barik.
How crazy.
What's your current playbook to get to that $100 million check?
Current playbook, Sheikh, and that also relates to a story. It happened last week. I'll mention it quickly.
Okay.
So the legal team we hired is Mr. Yusuf Al-Sahlawi's team.
Okay.
And I'll tell you guys who this team is, the legal team in Dubai. So you don't retain them. They tell you if you're qualified to be their client.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And they're very, the fees are very high. But they're the best of the best when it comes to legal team in Dubai. So who's Mr. Yusuf Al-Sahlawi? He was the chief prosecutor for Ministry of Justice in UAE for 10 years in the 90s. Then he was the executive director for Dubai Customs for 20 years.
And you hired this guy?
His team.
His team for your development project?
Yes. And then he was one of the chief advisors for royal family offices till this day.
Okay.
Okay, royal family offices. The point here is, now we're paying him large sum of money just for an hour consultation.
Okay.
And to back our development and investments, because we're raising lots of foreign currency, right? So to completely back it up without any shadow of a doubt, we hired this farm. And even then, he wanted to see everything that we have for the last 1 or 2 months. Like, he's doing due diligence on us before we could retain him, because he does not want to represent any client. So then a thought came to me. How do you get to this position where, like, okay, this is your $100 million check. We don't want it. You're not qualified.
Oof.
You understand, Sheikh? So it takes years and decades. The man has been in the industry for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
So the reputation is always compounded. The growth is always compounded. You cannot just force it and build it overnight. You have to put in the time. And you have to deliver exceptional results over and over and over again. Yeah. So this just completely opened my eyes, their office, how they set up and how they do everything. SubhanAllah.
Wow. You know, I'm just thinking, bro. I just took myself back to the UK, where a lot of people talk a big talk, kind of like the things that we're saying right now.
Sorry. Just remember the podcast I watched today.
Oh, that's the comments on that.
You watched
I saw it.
Yeah, it's out. Did you see the comments?
No.
Oh, watch it, Sheikh. Yeah.
Boy, snap. Give me 2 seconds. You can just carry on.
Just read the comments.
You might have something to say on this though. I'm like, this big talk that you're talking right now, Sam, and what you're talking for Fawaz.
So we're not talking big talk, Sheikh.
Okay, no, but no.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is one thing I was going to mention. By the way, one thing
Yeah.
we should have said is delusion is subjective, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
For what we do day to day, another man believes we're delusion. That's delusion.
Yeah, we're
So
coming
I
to
forgot
agreement.
include that.
There's so many.
Okay, guys, we moved.
I think that was an important caveat. Yeah.
We moved on from the delusion.
I just had to.
I'm saying this, when
Red.
I say big talk, I mean like
That was
talking
red
about
right
big
there.
things,
Mhm.
like big aspirational things. And I just remember hearing this stuff in the UK. I didn't actually believe anyone when they would say it, but I actually believe you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you say that, you know, when you look at things from that angle, I'm trying to work to $100 million check. As crazy as it sounds, when he says that if he had to go up against a gorilla or LeBron James, he would put his 100% and do whatever he could to defeat him.
I believe he'll do
I
it.
believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. And I'm just trying to work out, like, what's the difference between those that say that stuff and just get a dopamine kick out of it and don't actually act upon it, and those that they say it but they mean it?
Because for you, in his context, it's realistic delusion because you know him, you know his reality, you know his situation, you know his character. So for you, it's like, this is realistic delusion.
Not from my perspective, but from their perspective. What is it about a person when he says, I'm going to take over this industry, I'm going to memorize the Quran, I'm going to help everyone leave the UK, and you believe him? Like everyone on this table, when you say that, I genuinely believe that that is something you're working towards.
Only because of the knowledge you have about him.
Forget my perspective. I'm talking about the individuals themselves. What's the difference between you when you say it?
There's no difference. I don't believe there's a difference between... the only difference is in our perception of them.
Forget my perception. I'm saying as a matter of fact, he's saying it, but he won't and he can't. He's saying it and he actually can.
I think, Sheikh, I know what you're saying. I think what it is, inshallah, belief and confidence comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. So a lot of people...
That's very deep.
A lot of people, when they're saying it, you can feel that they're not feeling it because they don't keep the promises they make to themselves. And another study was done. How do lions and tigers, if you're with them alone in a cage, they can smell the fear? We have always heard that, like, oh, they can smell the fear, you know? But it's actually real. Because when we are fearful, the sweat that comes out of our sweat glands, the smell is a different smell than sweat comes out of just heat.
Yep.
So you can actually smell the fear. So there's energy transfer. So when I don't actually believe what I'm saying, because I said I'm going to wake up today at 6 a.m. to work out, pray Fajr and then work out, I actually have not done it for days and weeks and months. Then I come on camera and say something, the energy transfer is going to be not real.
I don't think those guys even say it. I feel like they've just accepted their reality and they've just sort of...
Nah, people do, man. I hear people say, this year I'll make 100K, this year I'm going to do this.
Oh, really? Okay.
They don't even believe it themselves. That's what you're saying.
Themselves, man.
Yeah.
or in the moment they believe it. Anyway, that's interesting. Look, your growth is on 2 out of 10.
If you're going to have a strong belief, you need to understand that comes with strong action.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell people. Be delusional, for example, as long as you do delusional actions as well. But you can't just think, I want to achieve, and not act in accordance to what you want to achieve, right?
Abbas, how's your growth out of 10?
Oof, good question. Do you mean like my personal growth or my business growth?
So this is just your growth in terms of your connected to like your remember, this is under the work category.
Okay.
So your job, your mission, your money, your finances. What's your growth in that department?
Oh, like I'm a bit like Sam, 1 or 2 maybe.
So where are you lacking? Where are you trying to get to?
It's not so much where I'm trying to get to. So basically, you know, this work category, mission, money, growth, right? I kind of see this as an analogy of if you have a road and the end of the road is the goal and the car that you're going to drive on is like the mechanism. So like the growth and the money and the mission is the goal on the end, right? You can make your car as good as you can, as you can, increase the engine and increase whatever you want to modify the car. I don't want to get distracted by the car. I just want to get towards the objective. Does that make sense? The reason why I make this analogy is because I think a lot of people, especially people I know, by the way, I should preface this. All of these shows, I always do them for my younger brothers. I have a few. So if you're watching, the point of the matter is to not get distracted by the reason why the goal is going to be achieved, or how you're going to achieve the goal. Is that you're always making some kind of progress. So I've implemented what we spoke about actually not long ago. By the way, I don't know where you got it from. You should tell me. Which is that I'm always just looking for the biggest constraint. So whatever is the, I imagine it like pipes, right? If you have water coming in, you can have loads and loads of water coming in, but there's going to be bottlenecks. And you have to have the ability and the knowledge to expand the bottlenecks, allow for more movement to basically take place. So that's basically what I'm always doing, but it's hard to find them. So sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're stuck.
The guy I get that from is Fawaz.
Oh, okay.
Every week at our Live by Design meeting.
Yeah, so you say live by design. This is really interesting. I like this. I call myself a professional at life. I live life like I get paid to do it. Like somebody's paying me to live this life. You're going to add that one to your repertoire. Yeah? Just make sure you credit me. Yeah.
So look, let's move on to the relationship section. I know we can dive into all of these in a lot of depth with all of us, but who wants to be transparent with us and vulnerable and let us know that they are struggling in the romance category?
I plead the 5th.
Would you rate it out of 10?
I plead the 5th.
Oh, sorry, as in you don't want to be involved.
Yeah. I plead the 5th.
Plead the 5th, meaning like I have no comments.
Like,
Okay.
That's the gangster way of saying it. Michael Corleone.
Okay. I thought he was saying, get me.
I plead the 5th, brother.
No, but in the Constitution, that's the right against self-incrimination. So he's kind of telling us.
The right to remain silent.
So look, what about you, man? Sam, how's married life, brother?
I think Shaz is good.
Yeah?
I don't know.
God, how's married life, brother?
5th.
No. How's
Guys, it's on you.
Fawaz, how's married life, brother?
My life is amazing, you know?
Really?
My laptop.
Your horse?
Yeah, my horse.
Brother, there you go.
Yeah, life.
That's
It's
So
cool.
yours is 0 because you're not married. So I'll go on for this.
Whoa, who said romance is about marriage alone?
Not in this wheel of life.
Okay, sorry. In that case.
Why are you not married yet?
Why am I not married yet? Good question, man. I am not married
Because you're delusional.
Wow.
because I'm delusional.
You need realistic delusion, bro.
Nah. Do you know what it is? Like I said, for me, it's just right now, it's I feel like when in the right situation, in the right way, at the right time, it's going to happen. I don't believe in enforcing anything. It doesn't mean I'm like, being like, I'm sitting in a corner. But, I do believe, Yani, special people need special things. You know what I'm saying?
Can I make a prediction?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think you're going to get married for a very long time. And there isn't, unless, I'll mention that at the end.
Yeah.
The
I heard this one.
reason why I don't think he's going to get married in a long time, because people who have... So, okay, Fawaz, to me, is like a 35-year-old unmarried brother. And he's not 35. And I'll tell you why. A brother who's been trying to get married for so long, he's obviously developed his understanding of what an ideal woman is. Right? A man is more tolerant of the type of woman that he will accept, the younger and more, enraged his hormones are.
You're actually spot on.
Right? But the older you get, the more you're like, you know what? I actually don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. And what I've noticed what happens to brothers, those who are unmarried for a long period of time, is that becomes a bottleneck in them getting married, because no woman ever actually meets up to the ideal.
The threshold increases.
Yes. The threshold is always above, because he's seen too much. Remember, think about it. A guy who,
I disagree.
Hear me. Let me land. A guy who's 35 has seen all the problems go wrong in terms of the women that he's tried to get married to. He's the collective experience of some of his best friends, family members that have just been divorced, and this happened. So for him, this is horror. I'm saying likewise, Fawaz, Allah Mubarak, has got like a 35, 40-year-old man's worth of experience in terms of life. He understands exactly 100%. What he wants, and so on and so forth. So for that reason, his threshold is very high.
Yeah.
And I just believe, again, I could be completely wrong here, but
it is possible, but it's
possible, but it's improbable. Now, the reason why there's an unless, and I do believe that unless is what is going to help save him, inshallah, is that the guy's quick on feedback loops, because that's what he does. He teaches people how to live their life by design, work out where the bottleneck is. So because of that self-aware nature, he might pick this up and decide to take the leap. But if he doesn't, I believe Fawaz is going to be a single, lonely brother for a considerably long period of time. Sorry for the sisters who are watching.
Okay, I actually don't give a... Like, there's things that are important to me, but fundamentally, above all things, for me, it's just coachability. And you know, it's like, I've spent the last significant portion of my life just, alhamdulillah, like, I am, relatively young. Alhamdulillah. And I've spent the last period of my life just locked it into something, a mission, And I believe one day, inshallah, I will get married.
Inshallah.
But right now, I'm on the, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the Ibn Taymiyyah vibe, you get me?
So basically what he's saying is,
dedicated to the mission.
He's red, he can't say
That's a red, he can't say it. Yeah. And by the way, I'll tell you something. It's a problem for you, because you can't marry a red. Because you're going to be, you can't marry a woman, you're going to beef every day, number one. Number two, you can't marry a yellow because she's going to talk to you too much. You can't marry blue because she's going to drive you up the wall with all of her calculations and everything. And you can't marry yellow because she doesn't want to make no change. Sorry,
you need to marry a white girl then, brother. She's just got none of it. She got none of it.
No.
Please don't like change. I'm telling you, for you, it's a long day.
There's a healthy mix.
And can I tell you something? You think you have rigid flexibility, but you don't.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm very rigidly flexible.
No, you're more rigid than you are flexible.
With women.
Your scope flexibility is very
I'll explain to you why.
From my experience in speaking.
I'll explain to you why.
And you say it's just coachability, but it's not just coachability. There's so many... We've had so many discussions on so many different topics. Each and every single one of them.
One thing you guys have to understand is, we're talking about a special, like, I can't marry just for me. I have to marry for my clients, for the mission.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are looking at it from a... So if I wanted to get married for me, I'd have got married yesterday.
So I'm going to ask you a mad question then. I want you to answer honestly.
Yeah, go on. No. No. Definitely no.
What you just...
Yeah. I bleep that.
Yeah.
Bleep.
No, as in, I think the point that he's making is that the person I married obviously is going to have an impact on my life.
Yeah.
That impact on my life could actually affect my impact on my relations with my client.
Do you know what it is? When I set out on this journey, I set out on this journey to be selfless. Meaning, I put the mission before I put myself. Does that make sense? I believe in the mission. Like, there was a lot of prominent, amazing shuyukh and ulama that didn't get married due to this. Yani, I will be them if there's no correct suitor. Like, I make it clear. Like, if that's what it means that, yani, I can't get the specific woman you guys claim I want, then khalas. Game is the game. But if you think I'll ever settle, myth.
Look, I'll tell you something.
1% is going to come to the 1%.
No, I'll tell you what it is.
Or you might have to wait until Jannah to get that.
That's you guys' hella realism. Bro, the women are out there. Like, I always tell brothers this, I don't like it when brothers force their life experiences on man. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? My whole life, alhamdulillah, what's gotten me wins and success is delusion. So I will maintain said delusion. And trust me, when the baddie comes, I'm going to tell you about the delusion and what I got me, inshallah.
How do you balance that with taking advice from brothers who are older, brothers who have more experience, more knowledge? How do you balance that?
Barakallah, I take nasiha for me, as all of you brothers know, something that's very, very important to me. But like you said, you must have your governor. Your governor is the one that helps you, filter out the different pieces of advice. And I spoke to Sheikh about this all the time. Everyone has a different perspective on your life, but very few people know you in and out. And it's such a dangerous thing. And this is why, even for me, like, I was on a cycle. I did like a 30-kilometer cycle with the brother Adam Khan, man. Allah barik, amazing business. He did it where, brothers went on a cycle, 30 kilometers. Not into it, but, just to test myself, right? So I went out on a Sunday morning, and there was a brother that was talking to me, and he kept asking me questions. And, sarahatan, I went there with the mood that I'm just trying to cycle. Like, I'm not trying to, I didn't invite any of the brothers for a reason. It was me versus me sort of thing. So I told him, look, message my EA, let's set up a meeting. I went for breakfast with the brother this morning, right? And he asked me, why didn't you answer any of the questions I had? I goes, because I find it's so dangerous to give people advice without full perspective. You can mess up this guy's life. You really could. You might think that, yeah, but what I'm saying, yani, it's not a bad thing. Yeah, but you don't know that he came to you personally. If someone asks me a question, مثلا, in front of a crowd, then I can answer generally. This guy came to me about his life. I won't answer the question until I ask him a series of questions first that can give me perspective. And you know what's funny? Wallahi, the initial answer I had in my head, had I given it to him that day, I would have ruined his life. I only found that through conversation. This is why I believe in having a governor. I appreciate the advice. I take it in. Wallahi, I do. I have a notebook where I put all the little gems of advice. But there's a lack of perspective. I know me. I'm not going to go and get into something and then divorce in like 2 weeks because, brothers pressuring me on a pod. Do you know what I'm saying?
Shall I give you something?
That's my thing.
I'm gonna give you a quote. It goes, advice is a dangerous gift, even from the wise to the wise.
There's
use this one on your. But I didn't.
I'm gonna write it down,
bro.
There's definitely there's definitely a balance to it, man. Because I've been in that place where there's people where I'm like, you know what, this person is wiser than me, older than me. I'm just gonna take whatever they give me, and it actually, although the advices were definitely very great as well, but it took me to a very dark place in my life as well, and it took me some while to get out of that and be like, wait. This is not good advice. Do you understand?
But do you know why? It's because age doesn't guarantee experience and youth doesn't guarantee innovation.
But at the same
time, can I ask you a question? You spent a lot of time with me, right?
Yeah.
Do you believe I am bad receiving of feedback?
No, I don't. But I do believe you are a red, and you have to be very conscious that sometimes can become a block in you hearing certain things.
Can you break that down to me, please?
But the reason why,
therapy.
So as a red, you're very, you have a lot of conviction,
strong,
and you're very assertive, and strong-willed, and fundamentally, guys, this next week's episode is gonna be really interesting, inshallah.
But that makes you who you are.
Yeah, but
you can't change that.
No. 1 second. If I could just, because a fundamental characteristic of reds, there's 2 ways: the wrong way or my way. Yes. So you're red, and you are red in every shape. But I think what saves you.
I'm not fully red.
But I think you are. I mean, I read that book.
Oh, you read it?
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm
halfway through it. Sam, have you read that book?
I have.
Okay, so us two, you haven't read it.
Brothers, you have to read it.
Before next episode.
These two guys
I started it.
Before next episode. Look. But what saves you is the feedback loop system that you actually live by. Right? So I feel like even if in the moment you're not taking it, you're going to process it.
Yeah, I reflect.
Yeah.
I have thought about the things you mentioned, but I'm telling you, if you understood me a lot more deeper, you would tell me don't follow my advice.
So you know what? Let's go for dinner.
You know what? Where you trying to have a new spot, Sheikh?
Let's go for dinner.
Banging.
The fact that he let you in on the dinner thing when you said it.
I'm on a break.
The fact that he let you in on the dinner thing when you said it means he actually really likes you.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So, guys,
I wrote that for us too, and I want to hear from him.
Yeah.
For him.
Okay.
I don't doubt that. That's why I don't become offended.
And I also don't. I also don't want to, as you said, I don't want to impose my life experiences on you. But I do believe there is a wealth from dealing with people, and I agree. By the way, you are an exceptional person. The majority of people that I've dealt with,
you're exceptional.
The majority of people that I've dealt with, the advice I'll give to you will be different.
I got a bit yellow, you know that.
But there are some things that I don't know. Well, you know what?
No, you might discuss at dinner.
Maybe the governor might one day come to you and say to you, Fawaz.
Listen. We have to move
when
on.
The governor chats
we
to
have
me,
to move on.
Fawaz only says harder.
Guys.
Wow.
Guys.
We have to get the governor on the podcast.
So, the last segment, inshallah ta'ala, and because we've got lots to discuss,
mind, body, and soul.
Too much on it. The health section, let's just focus on Iman, since this is the most important thing. Right? So, who here feels like their Iman, actually, they're like, you know what, this is something that I've been neglecting, I need to work on it a bit more.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think
Not neglecting, but
So
No,
look,
no.
this is not, I don't mean this in context of like, we should always, I can imagine everyone, what's your man right now? You say 1 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
Let's not do
I
that.
actually thought that mine was actually.
Let's not play that game. Let's do it based on what it was since Ramadan, right? Comparison to Ramadan, because I think everyone was in a place that they would like to be in Ramadan. Out of 10, where are you right now in comparison to where you were in Ramadan?
So basically, for me, I want to start with myself. If Abbas, is I think one of the biggest changes that I've done in recent time is that I've realized that I have to be an intentional Muslim. If I just, like, what we were speaking about earlier, which is that if I just kind of stagnate in my deen, I'm just, it's only decreasing. It's only going down. I have to like add things, change things. You have to be deliberate.
Mention the example of the
Can I
traveler.
ask you a question? How long did it take for you to come to that realization?
Oh, well, so long. But first, I'm going to mention the traveler thing. And I'll tell you this one as well. Right. So everyone's been to an airport. The airport has this thing called a travelator. It's like a accelerated escalator, but it's on the ground. Imagine life as you are on a travelator, but in the wrong direction. So if you're walking, you're going to stay in the same place. If you're standing still, you're going backwards. The only way you're going to make progress if you accelerate, you have to run on the travelator to make progress. It's like that with Deen as well. If I don't deliberately if I don't actually think, okay, this is enough, stop. I have to increase my amount here. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to add things. I have to take things out. I have to refine. have to improve. If I don't do that, my Deen is only going to go down. Me praying the salah and avoiding the major sins and stuff, that's not sufficient. It's not enough. It just means my iman is going to decrease and decrease and decrease until eventually the sins that I never even would have thought about, I'm going to fall into them as well. And things that I never would miss, like the salah, I'm going to start missing that as well. It has to be constantly added to, constantly, over and over again. And I don't mean, by the way, some of these things don't happen by accident. I think that when you change your environment and when you start changing your influences that maybe you watch on YouTube videos and stuff, it adds something, it changes something. But then the rest of it is on you. Once that stuff has stabilized, so this is your new normal, it means you're not changing anymore. You have to add stuff. You have to mix it up for change to take place, basically. If you do the same thing every time, it just means you're staying still. And we say the same things for all of these other things, by the way. It's just, Iman is one, for me anyway, and I feel like a lot of people as well, it feels like something that I'm waiting for it to improve on its own. Like I'm flying on autopilot. And it's like, no, you got to sit in the cabin, take control of the joystick. Is that what they're called? Yeah. Or the yoke or whatever. The yoke. Man's got to fly the plane. You understand? It's on me. When I'm in the grave, there's no co-pilot, fam.
So how you flying the Iman plane then?
Okay, so I added something recently.
Go on.
But I say recently, but it should have been a long time ago, which is, and I said this on Channel about last time, I'm trying to pray every salah in the masjid, in the front row. I want to salam the imam when he comes in. Assalamu alaikum. And by the way, that's not necessary. That doesn't improve my iman. I'm just adding it to the mix to say, this is a marker to say that I'm taking this one off properly. Do you understand? I'm not going to show up to the masjid and they already prayed 1 rak'ah. That's not sufficient. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's better than praying at yard, but it's not good enough. I have to be there when the iqamah is happening. I have to already be in the front line.
This is really good. You know, this is actually what we look at. You should actually teach your team this, right? Outcome versus task thinking, right? A lot of people think in a task mindset, right? I butchered my EA for this, like proper whiteboard lesson, smacking off the whiteboard because of this, right? I don't care about the task. Like recently I traveled to Amin, right? When I came back, the sheets, I had a smoothie stain on my sheets and it was still there when I got back. So I did contact the cleaner. I goes, I don't care if you contacted the cleaner. You do not do tasks. You take care of outcomes. The outcome is Fawaz sleeps in a fresh bed. That's how you think. I don't care how you get there. The tariq, quite frankly, I said, look, it's not my business. And quite frankly, if the cleaner didn't do it, if the laundry guy couldn't come, then you do it. I don't care. But it's done. We think in outcomes. It's super important. Like what you said is important, bro. It's not, I want to be in the masjid, I want to pray. No, I must shake the imam's hand. You have to view the outcome. So this is something that we should all need to do. It's rather than thinking about the task, see the outcome. What is the outcome? What does that look like? Paint a picture, right? So, for example, I want to make $1 million. What does $1 million, if you have to envision $1 million in your account, envision where you'd be. This is so important because when you just get caught up in the task thing, trust me, you never get there. The outcome has to be envisioned, right? It's something I tell myself and I tell my team as well. The only way to actually become successful is to be an outcome thinker. A task person, someone you give tasks, he's a doer. Go do this, go do that. But an outcome person, they're very different because they will find any way to ensure that the outcome is achieved.
Yeah, no, and also being a task-based thinker it basically means that you're divorced from the outcome.
And you're a slave.
You actually don't care how it happens. No, what I mean is that
Slave.
you I don't want to add moralizing words to it. What I'm saying is that the outcome is irrelevant to the task. It's almost like you're a machine. I don't use slave, okay? But it's almost like you are no different. Yeah.
Program.
In your own life, you're no different than a microphone or a table or a chair. You have to be the driver. For example, one of my brethren, he came from the UK, and he gave me this question. Well, how sick would you rather? He said, would you rather always be an operator or always be a passenger? Right? Meaning, in everything in life, you have to either sit like this and wait. Like, even when you get in the lift, you can't press the button. Somebody else has to press the button. When you get in a car, you can never drive a car ever again. Or the opposite, which is that every single vehicle I get in, I have to operate. I have to fly the plane. I have to drive the train. I have to press the button in the lift. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick operator.
Operator, of course.
If I have to, bro, if I have to fly the plane to travel around, except as in not to mean that like a commercial jet, I mean like, if I'm not going to be able to travel unless I fly the plane, that's fine. I'll stay and I'll get my pilot's license and then I'll fly a small crop duster to the next country. As long as that's what. But if the opposite, I'd rather pick being an operator.
By the way, sorry, can I ask you guys a completely random question just related to what you just said? You just answer yes or no, yeah? Let's just say you're on a flight and they make
Is this a blue question?
I don't know.
Okay.
But the pilot is incapacitated. We need someone to step up and basically just fly the plane. The air traffic control will be in your headset, giving you instructions, and you have to basically just do what they told you and land the plane. Yeah. Do you think you could do it?
Yes.
Certainly.
Yeah,
certainly.
I
don't have
no, Sheikh.
Wallahi, I don't have a doubt.
If you go into that thing,
say,
I may as well just jump out with parachute. I'm just going to tell them.
No.
I'd prefer to jump
No, the reason I've stopped is because he's asked me this question before, and apparently there's a negative thing about those who say yes first, because everyone believes they can, right?
I'm certain. Sometimes I get on planes and I know I'll fly better than the pilot.
But I do.
Yeah, your delusion thing. I don't want to sit beside.
No, but I do believe I could, yeah, 100%.
And Fawaz, what were you saw?
They're playing.
Bro, I'll drift that thing, fam. That's all kinds of stuff.
Okay, fine, anyway, back to the topic.
Any thoughts, Sam, in terms of the Iman category?
Iman, alhamdulillah, you asked comparing to Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, there is a casual dip in the Iman. I really love what Abbas shared. So, the last 3 nights of Ramadan, actually 26, 27, 28, I was in umrah. Alhamdulillah, I made some very big duas, and most of them actually, came into fruition within 30 days.
Oh, wow.
Alhamdulillah. And one of those duas was that I have to be a Muslim with intent, what exactly Abbas mentioned. And one of those things I asked Allah that make me, even the simple things like zikr.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to be, if I'm walking, like from here to elevator, Allah make it allow me to remember that I have to finish like saying this 10 times or saying this 20 times, whatever the case is, make me more conscious. And another thing, dua I made, that whatever office we get, remember at that time we were looking at the office in Business Bay. I don't know if you remember, you mentioned that, where's the masjid from this building? And then we looked, it was quite far. It was not too far, but in Business Bay.
We took a 9-minute walk.
9-minute walk.
That's too far.
Too far for Dubai standard, right? So, alhamdulillah, that was another big dua. Allah, give me an office space, finalize one for me. That's like a very easy masjid is right there, right? Alhamdulillah, the office that we got, literally you hear the azan, beautiful recitation from the office. Literally you just go down and like probably 1.5 minute walk.
Wow.
The masjid is in the same cluster as the office building in JLT. So alhamdulillah, those things are like good signs that Allah has accepted your umrah, the du'as when you see them. So alhamdulillah, that's keeping me going, keeping me inspired, and I think it's time for another umrah, inshallah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Allah Mabarak. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, to be honest, I don't really know too much about Ramadan to now. I'm not giving that much thought. But since yesterday, I feel like, day before yesterday, it's normally when I drive, I listen to audiobooks, right? I've mentioned this to you before, but what I found is that obviously as we were discussing it, is that that's good for like a very surface level listen, like just to get the ideas and whatnot. But it's not good for actually, like, there's certain books that I listened to that I wanted to actually take benefits from, actually retain a lot of the information, implement it into my life as systems. But I couldn't do it because by the end of the book, you've forgotten the first parts, right? So I said to myself, so now I was on a long drive, not last night, the night before. I told you, I went to Legoland. It's funny. So I got home and I asked my son, like, what do you want to do right now? I thought you were going to say like play a game or whatnot. He said, I want to go to Legoland.
Oh wow.
I said, just went, checked the thing. I was 1,000 points short on my Marriott account.
Yeah.
So I messaged you, you didn't respond. So I said, you know what, let me just buy the points. I bought the points at $12.50, booked the hotel. I said to my wife, it was like 7, 8 p.m. I said to her, just book it. Pack the stuff, we're going to Legoland. I just thought to myself, you know what, that's actually mad. Like, as a kid, I could never have imagined I would say to my parents, you know, I want to go to Legoland at 7 p.m. and they'll turn around and be like,
Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah.
let's go.
Okay.
So I was like, cool, yeah, let's
Good idea.
Yeah. So it was about like an hour and 15-minute drive. And so I was trying to think of,
Legoland Windsor.
no. Oh,
Yeah,
in the UK.
Yeah.
No, hey, they got one in Dubai.
No, wait, they got Legoland in the UAE?
You thought
Yeah.
took a flight to the
You
UK.
said pack the bags, bro. I thought that-
No. I mean,
It's a
pack
resort,
an overnight bag.
Oh, I
As
see,
in,
I
there's
see.
a hotel there. So
Yeah.
there's a Marriott hotel.
sure.
Obviously, I've got Marriott partnership. Long story short, if you book the hotel, you get free access to the park. So it kind of works. And so as I'm in the car, I'm thinking, what should I listen to? I'm going to listen to audiobook. What do I listen to? And then I don't know why, but I remembered that you mentioned on the Chama Bai the 10 characteristics of Ibadur Rahman that Ustad Abdul Rahman did.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me put that on. I
Yeah.
put it on, I listened to it. And the very first one was humility, right?
Humility, yes.
Wallah, I'm listening to this.
Yeah.
Bro. It was like,
Yeah.
it was emotional, man. Like, just, bro, it was crazy. It was, I can't explain it to you. It sounds so stupid, but it felt so, it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. Like, it was just, I highly recommend. I mean, it's a 10-hour video. I didn't even get an hour into it. Like, you know, I was just over an hour into it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, man. That just, for me, that got me iman-wise. I've been on a high since then. On the way back was listening to the rest of it. And
if I may just add one thing, this video, highly recommend, because we have all heard these qualities, like one form or the other, khutbahs and everywhere. Like, these are common lessons, right? Well, like even for me, that video, the way he explains something in it, like it was like completely like something like an arrow pierced through my heart.
It made me feel like I have no humility, bro.
Yeah.
And I thought I was a humble guy.
Raw.
And this is just the first of the 10.
Yeah. Maybe I can't fly the plane better than the pilot then.
No, the series is crazy, subhanAllah. The series is crazy. Yeah. I've been pacing through it. I went back over it again after you mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I even want to give another gem. I tried it recently. It's kind of crazy. If you journal, download the audio of your journal, like download the transcript, and just get like AI or whatever to like read your journal to you.
Ooh,
I'm
that's
telling you,
powerful,
like,
man. I'll have my whole Google Drive, go through my whole Google Drive since 2013.
It was peak.
Really?
Like what I felt was peak.
Really?
Like what I felt. Like I can't explain it.
That's mad.
But it's a different level of reflection. Like you're hearing what you wrote.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just nuts, man.
That's actually mad.
It's just nuts. Just download the transcript, put it into AI, say read this.
What do you
out
use to
me.
write your journal?
I use Day One. You can literally just export
That's
all of
hard.
it as a PDF.
That's the one that Ravi recommends, right?
Yeah.
You
I use
also,
pen and pencil.
It,
Pen and paper.
do you know what it is? I love the idea of pen and paper, but the problem is, first of all, maintaining it, keeping it, and something can happen to it. Because I had one in Egypt. I held all my gems in it and my house flooded and I lost like
That's tough.
significant piece. So since
Can
then,
you not like,
I put all of mine in
I'm
a
pretty
lockbox
sure
and
you can take a
that's the key.
picture of what you wrote, upload it to AI, like ChatGPT, and it can transcribe
I'll be
what
real,
you...
for me, it's a bit entropic because sometimes I'm in the car, I want to write something. It's just
Makes
it's
it
an extra
Yo,
layer.
entropic. Why did you use that word? Is that part of your like?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's
You
hard.
like-
That's
you like
hard.
it?
Yeah, man likes the entropy, bro. Entropy is a guarantee of life. You have to
Oh yeah,
have to control that.
these things, you know, there'll
to
be
do a podcast
podcast days for them. There'll be podcast. You know what?
Yeah.
Man, you're my only real friend when it comes to this lip bad. It's I thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'll share one thing, inshallah, before we move on to the next
Allah
question that I have for you guys, because we have another segment to discuss. But I think one thing that it's funny because we're saying we're adding new religious things to our thing. We don't mean this from a bid'ah perspective, but things that we maybe didn't used to, but we're adding them down, right? Is the concept of shukr, man. And obviously we had this conversation extensively in Ramadan, and obviously we mentioned, last year there was a lot of ups and downs, a bit of a tough year, but there was a lot of du'a that I was making for multiple things, like multiple areas of my life were really kind of collapsing. I was making a lot of du'a to Allah Azza wa Jal. And then one by one, each thing got solved. Every problem got solved. And I caught myself like 2-3 days after, like, bro, I didn't even thank Allah. I didn't even thank Allah.
So I had to, that was actually the maddest part of the journal for me.
Yeah.
I'm listening to things where I'm complaining, like I'm pouring my heart out to Allah in the journal. Like, I need this, Ya Rab. Like, this is going peak right now. And it's not even here anymore. And there was no concept of like actual sitting down. Yeah.
So, you know, is that time I deep something. I realized, I was like, bro, you know what? Yeah. I think this is my biggest bottleneck in terms of my deen and my life in general. Because we know that when you're grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal, increases. The blessing stays and increases. Like, my life is a constant story of blessings coming and going. Of course, not all blessings have gone, with Allah's permission. May Allah protect us, Amin.
Amin.
But just generally speaking, like everything that I've always been working towards comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. And I realized, I was like, bro, you know what? I keep messing myself up. And I came across a statement from the Salaf, and it's a very popular statement, but it's just the first time I ever came across it. The Salaf will say that a blessing is like a wild animal.
Yeah.
If you've hunted it down and now you've caught it, if you don't tie it down, it will run away. So, in fact, some Salaf will say that a blessing would run away faster than a wild animal, if I'm not mistaken. So, literally, that scared the hell out of me, man. I was like, bro, so this blessing that I just got, if I don't tie it down with gratitude to Allah right now, it's going to leave me. But if I tie it down with gratitude, it will stay and it will increase. So I remember at that time, and this is just when I'm speaking to Fawaz and he's starting to get into my head about living by design and whatnot, I was also speaking to Sheikh Khalid as well. And I was like, Sheikh, look, I need a system for gratitude because, to be thankful to Allah is to remember Him, right? The opposite of dhikr and to be a dhakir is to be what? Ghafid, heedlessness. Heedlessness is a direct opposite, it's in direct opposition to remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. So I become heedless of Allah's blessings. So I was like, Sheikh, I need some type of a system. Like, we have all these systems to remind us to, submit XYZ by this time. We've got calendars, right? That help us, optimize our life. And
right.
I was like, I need something on the shukr thing. And I have blessings that I cannot even count them all if I was to try to. And I'm constantly being blessed with new blessings. And these are all like wild animals that are going to run away from me if I don't thank Allah for it. So what do I do? So I remember the Sheikh said something to me. He said to me, look, there's a book called A'mal al-Qulub, Actions of the Heart, by Sheikh called Khalid As-Sabt. He said, read the book, you'll find something there. So as I'm reading the book, it's blowing my mind. It's really blowing my mind. And
is it what language?
It's in Arabic.
Okay.
It's in Arabic. I actually did a video that's coming out on my channel next week. Shout out to Allah on this in a bit of detail. And I want to do a detailed explanation of just that chapter on shukr. But I was mind blowing. He's explaining shukr from the angle of the heart, because you thank Allah from your heart, from your limbs, from your tongue, and so on and so forth. There were so many different things to it. But as with anything, right, if you dive 100% into something for the first time, you're not going to be able to do it. So instead of being able to practice shukr in all of its various different ways, I want to pick one. I saw one common theme, which was that a type of shukr is to attribute the blessing to Allah. To actually say, Allah, this is from you. Just acknowledgement. Just pure acknowledgement. Allah, this is from you.
Okay, because that's the only one I do. If there's others, that's the only one.
Yeah, like another one is, if a blessing would happen, scholars would, from the Salaf would go and do an act of worship just on the back of that straight away.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Sufyan al-Thawri, if he would eat a good meal, he would say, feed the donkey well, then work him hard in the field. He would say, Allah just fed me well, I'm a donkey, now I will work hard, and he would spend the whole night praying to Allah Azza wa Jal on the back of a meal. Do you understand? So, point being is that there's so many different ways to do shukr. And like, as in, there's different practices that the Salaf had, right? Like the Prophet would spend the whole night in prayer, and Aisha would say, Ya Rasulullah, your sins have been forgiven. He said, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Should I not be a grateful slave? As I'm praying to my feet split out of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I said, you know what? There's one thing, and this kind of linked with when I was doing the Live by Design thing with Fawaz. He was like, I'll be honest with you, Akhi. Every time you said it up until this point, it came in one ear and out the other. I pretended and I amused you in all of my yellowness and just like, okay, interesting.
Did you tell?
Which was when he's talking about reflection. When he's talking about reflection and he's talking about journaling. I was like, brother, Abbas been telling me about journaling. I was like, I am not gay. This is a female thing. Right? I remember this cartoon called Doug. Do you guys remember Doug?
Well, man, been journaling since 2017.
And our podcast with him on reflection.
Yeah.
Like, that was sick. And he never did it.
In the moment, it sounded good, but I was like, bro, I'm not going to do this. But bro, can I be real with you? This is what I started doing. I started doing 2 practices that changed my life. Every morning, I come out onto my balcony, and it doesn't have to be on my balcony because when I was in the UK, I was doing it in Costa Coffee. But I go and if for nothing more than just 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, sit there and just recount the blessings of the last 24 hours. Just the last 24 hours. And sometimes I go off and I just start going off into blessings in general. And the reason I like my balcony is because I've got this view. I can just relate my life to the life of all the people that are out there. And at night, I have a journal in which I write down the blessings that Allah has given me.
Dear diary, Allah, He let me breathe today.
Yeah.
Allah, He gave me eyes today.
Bro,
Do you start with Dear diary? Do you know?
I start with Bismillah.
Okay.
Yeah, I start with Bismillah. And I talk like I'm just chatting to myself. It's weird.
Good.
So the way I do it is I do the blessings and then I do my shortcomings. Because what works hand in hand with shukr is tawbah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm constantly, so that's something that has been really life-changing for me. Anyways, with that said, guys, we have to move to the second segment.
This was powerful.
Yeah?
Very powerful.
Alhamdulillah.
You know the thing that you mentioned, I just want to touch on that, yeah? The what's gone well in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
The reason I do that in the night.
Yeah.
But not in that frame.
The reason I do that is because one, for me, is just reflection, the action of the heart.
Yeah.
The second is documentation.
Yeah.
So that I can go back, just keep it closer to the mic.
I do that, and it's a reflection of basically what my dad did with me and my siblings when we were growing up.
Yeah.
So at night, we used to sleep in one room, and my dad would ask us while we were falling asleep, "What did you do good today, and what did you do bad today?"
Right.
And start from the beginning. When you first got out of bed, when you first came downstairs, I'm not gonna lie though, I'll be honest, it was really tedious, and I didn't like it. I really got frustrated with it, and I didn't like it when the turn came to me, because I don't want to have to remember all of the mistakes that I made. But he would like circle back and be like, "Okay, if you did this differently, how would that go? And if you did this differently, would this be better?" That kind of thing. And then afterwards, at the end, bro, this was the part that I don't know if I... Afterwards, at the end, he'll be like, "Just think how much you have to be grateful for." But not from the angle of, he wouldn't always relate it back to the Deen or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's just saying, look, you have to accept that all of this happened and it wasn't because of you. Like this all happened irrelevant to you. And then, like I said, he would sometimes relate it back to the Deen or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But most of the time it was just, look, accept that you're small in this game. Okay, this thing, everything happened and it didn't happen because of you. I was like, okay, nice. That's one of the reasons I didn't like it so much.
Right. I appreciate you sharing that, man. I have one last question before we move on to our
What's brewing?
Our what's brewing section. So the diagram, and people can see it on screen. I'm gonna pause it to you guys. First, let me explain it. So this is, you can see it.
Yes.
This is your life right now, right? These are all the possible routes that you could have taken. The green one is the one that you did take. Alhamdulillah, your life is not over right now. Your life can carry on going in the same direction that it's already been, or you could take a multiplicity of other paths.
Okay.
You can go down, may Allah protect you, Amin, or you could take a completely different path.
Okay.
My question to you right now is that if you were not doing the things that you're doing right now in terms of your business and your mission, your work, if money was not object, if that was not what you were chasing, what would your alternative path in life be?
Love me a diagram. Feels like school, isn't it?
This is phenomenal. You know, I always say this. It's so important to bridge the gap between two things, like where you are now and where you're trying to be. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really know where they are now.
Yeah, and they don't even know where they want to be.
Yeah, but I think it's the first. Forget where you want to be. You actually have to understand where you are now. Because sometimes, even if you know where you want to be, but you don't know where you are now, you can't get there.
You're right.
Regardless.
Plus, I also think this is very motivational for those.
Your marriage journey.
I think this is also very inspirational for those that are going through difficult times right now. Also, those who might not have accomplished a lot. Because wherever you are right now, in terms of wherever you are in your life, bro, as you can see on the diagram, look, we all came out of our mother's wombs, as Allah said. Allah brought you out of the wombs of your mothers, and no one had any knowledge. Then Allah gave you hearing and He gave you sound. So He gave you the ability to hear.
Can I just talk about that? Yeah. So earlier when you mentioned the LeBron James thing, I had this conversation. When did we do Where's My Bae? Well, I don't say it wasn't we. When did you do Where's My Bae? No, when? 2016,
Over 10 years ago.
2015.
It's over 10 years ago.
2015. I was there, and Saad. It was first time I think I ever spoken to him. It's one of the dogs now. But it was the first time I spoke to him, and he was like, "Oh, like, what do you like? What's the if you had to study the Deen, what science do you like?" And I was like, "I like tafsir, right?" And then I was like, "Oh, but it really bothers me because I don't know if I'm ever going to have enough to offer because loads of scholars do tafsir, right? It's like it's a thing. There's loads of them." So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have something different or something unique or special to offer over someone like Ibn Kathir. And then he told me this ayah. He was like, "No, bro, Ibn Kathir, just like you, he was born with no knowledge, with nothing, and he wasn't born Ibn Kathir. He became Ibn Kathir."
I think the only difference is that Ibn Kathir, and not to compare the two, but Stephen Schwartzman and everyone else just did what we didn't do.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? So wherever you are in your life, as long as Allah is still giving you time, and with barakah, which multiplies the time that remains, you can take a completely different direction. My question is, and I'm going to ask this question in another way as well, but this, I want to ask it in this way first. I just want a quick answer from everyone. It doesn't have to be quick, but just straight to the point. Is that if you weren't working on your businesses right now, what would be the direction that your life would go? What would be your life's path? Bakr?
I think most likely something to do with charity. Some sort of charity organization. You know how like Shani Bai and Osman, like they've set up their own charity. They're just out there going there actively on the ground, setting up these wells and stuff like that. If I wasn't doing anything else, I actually think about it sometimes. If I'd never got married and didn't have children, I didn't have to, make ends meet, and I wasn't part of the da'wah and the mission and whatnot, I reckon I would have loved to have just done charity work. Just done charity work, bro. Just behind the scenes somewhere in a remote corner of the world. Just yeah.
And that would give you fulfillment.
100%.
Give you joy.
100%.
Yeah. Sam? But there's no right or wrong answer. No one has to.
My answer is going to frustrate you.
Same.
We'll come to you. Go off.
I don't think I would do anything different, Sheikh, honestly. I would,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I got to answer.
I would just, because for me, what I do is not a separate part. It is life.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, this is life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of anything I would do different, honestly. And it's so interesting, this diagram, because I always pictured it like this, but seeing it is so good. I'll take a picture to show it to my daughter. Because today morning, we're having the conversation. I was explaining to my 6-year-old, life is all about choices and consequences. And I was telling her some of my choices earlier on. If I had taken the wrong moves, where would I be right now? Versus Allah blessed us to take the right choices, right moves. And that's why we are where we are here now. I could have been here, Sheikh, if I went out that Saturday night where all my friends were locked up and had felonies.
SubhanAllah.
Remember our first podcast I mentioned? One night changed my life. I could have been literally here. Because if you get a felony, you can work a lot of jobs, but you cannot be in any financial industry in America.
Wow.
That's how the system is.
One night could have
completely. So choices. And so I was probably here in my life, made a decision, and it went this way, right? Instead, I could have gone this way. But the point is, we are here today. So every choice we make today will have consequences as well. It will compound and it will have consequences. So this diagram, mashallah, is very, very powerful.
Barakallah fi.
But I don't think the question allowed for the answer.
He said, if you were to, what would you do? So you have to think now of an alternative.
You have to think of an alternative.
My question was...
Yes, tell me.
What you're actually answering is what my second question was going to be, inshallah. Okay. My question was that if we were to remove this work that you're doing off the table.
So you got that felony. The felony, you got it now.
What would your life's path be? And look, just no.
Imran is giving you a
not that you got the felony. No. Not
you can't do it now. Now you have to do something different.
No, the point of this question is just to dig a bit deeper and see, is there anything else in life that you love, that you like to do, that maybe you're not doing? And then we can weigh up and ask ourselves, well, is that better than what we're doing right now? Is it worth it? Might not be. It might be that this, but it's a full exercise. Like, okay, let me just answer it. Go ahead. From my perspective, and I often think about this. Wallahi, I think for me, it would just be to just join a circles of knowledge, and just be attending durus. Maybe even without da'wah, which is really wrong, right? Because you have to teach what you learn. But I love the concept of just being a talib, just sitting,
learning with no weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, just sitting in the circles of knowledge, just sitting, knee to knee with the other students, the sheikhs teaching, and just taking notes.
Life of academia.
I get it now, Sheikh.
Yeah.
I'll just spend my life in just Medina.
Wow.
Just with brothers.
Wow.
Like-minded brothers, just in Medina.
That's deep.
That's it.
Inshallah.
So,
Sorry, Sheikh. I thought about this and I organized everything accordingly because of this. So everything I love, I do.
Wow.
okay. Is there anything that you love that you wish you could do more of?
صراحة, yes and no. No, in the sense that I already make sure one of the principles I live by in life is I'll never say I want to do this thing on one day in the future, I'll do it.
You do it now.
I do it now. You know, one of the things that my sheikh always smoked into my head, he goes, don't judge your sincerity based off of what you want. Judge it on your daily actions. So everything I want to eventually maybe spend more time in, I still make sure there's a portion of it in my life right now. Do I get as much time as I would on it now? No. Eventually, that's what we're working towards. And that time, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, will come. But sarahatan, yani, I would... the thing you're telling me to think about, I'm working towards it in a sense.
Okay,
you know?
Jimmy,
so it's like,
which is what? Just
But what would that be? Would that be just have a horse
I
in a mountain?
was asked this question yesterday, you know, and it was like, I told you, it was like, po in my mind, right? So I'm just going to open my journal and just see what I described it as. Because for me, I was like, you know, blah, 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 asked me an amazing question today. Like, what do you even want your future to look like? Like, what is retirement for you? You know? I've thought about the future, but the concept of retirement, like that word, somehow I've never fully calculated what retirement would be for me. Right?
I can't relate to that concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it's an Islamic concept.
Yeah, I don't think it is, and I don't aspire towards it at all. Period. Like I don't think of. May Allah protect me from that. I mean,
and that's how I responded to that's how I responded. The way you did.
things is fresh out the packet. It's fresh out the packet, which is why it's.
It has to be, bro.
Yeah.
You know, if you slap it in the washing machine one time, Sheikh. Fun.
You know, you actually just think as you need to put the right side. Your left down and your right up.
It's calm. It's calm.
Calm.
It's calm now. Calm.
You look amazing, anyway.
Well,
so yeah, I goes like, you know, the response to that was, what even is retirement? Like, do I want a retirement? No. So, but for me, my genius zone is like, I just want to fly around the world, give talks, inspire people. Like, if I could just do that and the business side was taken care of, that's what I'd do.
Perfect.
I'd fly around the world, inspire. I'd do my retreats, which I love doing. You know, I would be writing all morning. I'd be an author. I want to write books. I want to own a performance company that has physical products and the business systems. You know, yeah, that's literally for me. Build my companies, build me, build people, build companies, build minds, build the empire. Like that is
Jamil.
We're on the path to it, right?
So look, the point of this objective is just to see if are you in line with what you would actually want, and it seems that pretty much everyone is, and or there's little tweaks that are required. Maybe once a year, you can maybe go away for like a week or two, just get it cracking, right?
But what it is though is that's without what you're currently doing, right? But I'm saying what I'm currently doing, I feel like enables me to do that at a more leveraged way that I would never have even imagined.
Jamil, good.
Yeah, but even
doing what I'm doing now,
say like every quarter I'm gonna go do that. No one knows.
No, but I'm saying that there's other ways of doing that, right? Like I'm able to help people in other ways that I wouldn't have been able to do.
I agree, but if you love that way as well, why not?
No, you're right. And that's something that even last year I was planning to go, but something came up and I couldn't go. Before that, we went to Pakistan. Then we went to...
Come Rohingya with me.
We went to... When are you going?
The Rohingyan. It's Bangladesh.
When?
Bazaar.
Yeah, when?
I'm trying to go next year, inshallah.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it was sick the last time.
So, before we move to the next segment,
I
didn't ask everyone everything on anything.
Okay.
Yeah, just because for time, otherwise.
But
no.
Clearly.
No, I asked them other things that I didn't ask you.
Don't worry, I won't take it personally.
Yeah, no, of course I know you. Sure, yeah.
You know you're so Nigerian. Well, like, you're so Nigerian. You remind me of like my old school
I just want
days
to
of
share
my
something
secondary
with you
school
guys,
friends,
man.
Bismillah.
I took this picture in the morning.
I've enjoyed it. I think every week I'm going to start saying this was my favorite podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
I took this picture this morning, right? I wanted to share this with you guys because it echoed the reflection that we've had on this before we move on to the last segment.
It's a beetle.
It's a beetle, right? This guy has been in my balcony for 48 hours and he has a very unique story. And his story shows how special this beetle is, and maybe it shows how much of a nasty soul I am at the exact same time. But basically, as I go out onto my balcony every day and I reflect over the blessings that Allah has given me and I think about how can I do a week's worth of work today, I saw this beetle upside down, struggling in my balcony. So these beetles, apparently, once they get on their back, they can't flip over if they're on a flat surface. Usually, if they get on their back, they frantically move their legs, and in their natural environment where there's maybe sand or rocks or grass, they can latch onto something that helps them flip over. But on a flat surface where there's nothing around, this beetle will just struggle. Now, I saw it, and in my mind, I was like, wait, I think the beetle's dying. You know, like when something, you know, when an animal's like on his last legs and he's just moving around, so it's probably going to die in a bit. Can't really do much about it, right? Then I'd come in like the afternoon in the scorching heat, and I'm on the balcony again, just taking a breather. I'm like, oh, the beetle's still alive. Then I have to go close and look at it. I'm like, what's wrong with it? Oh, it's on its back. I thought, shall I help it? I was like, no. I don't really have the desire to help this beetle. I don't wait. Because it was real moral quandary for me, to be honest. Because in my mind, I'm like, wait.
Moral quandary.
Yeah. I was like, wait. I guess if this was a human, I would help the human.
That's such a blue
thing to do, right?
story.
Yeah.
It sounds like I would just randomly say in the middle of a podcast.
So, no, but it goes yellow. It goes yellow.
Okay, go on.
So I was like, I'm pretty sure I should. But then I was trying to find an evidence. I was like, this is a beetle. I was like, wait, is it pest? What is it? Is it like a rat? We're supposed to kill it? Like, I don't know. If it was an ant, I would help it because ants are like special, right? You don't kill ants. I was like, you know what, this is cognitive overload. I have Fawaz in my head saying, brother, just go back inside and get to work. So now I've come out the next day in the morning, I'm reflecting and the beetle's there, still struggling.
This beetle's chilling there for over 24 hours on its back, kicking its legs.
Bro, 100%.
That's resilience.
So in my mind, I'm like,
get him on a podcast, bro. Get him on a podcast. Let him tell the story. I saw this guy come out and he stared at me and he didn't help me. And he went back inside and he went like this.
Bro, I'm telling you now, I've seen the beetle. I'm like, bro, okay, it's still alive. Should I help it? So I really don't want to. I was like, I'm not going to touch it. I have to go inside, get a paper. Is there paper? I can't be bothered. Cognitive overload. I went back in. I came out today on my balcony again. And this time on my balcony, I'm with my daughter. And she's sitting on my lap. And I'm thinking, and I see the beetle again. I'm like, right, I think I should help. This beetle is alive 48 hours later, brother. 48 hours later. And it's non-stop frantically been moving its legs. And I'm like, bruv, it actually can't get up. Like in my mind, I was like, maybe it will get up. Like in my mind, I wasn't thinking I'm going to leave it to die. I'm like, obviously effort eventually results.
I know the beetle will fly by and just see you like, yo, let me go help you.
I thought maybe it was going to have a technique or something, or, you know, a part of me was like, maybe it's sick or its leg's broken, so then it's going to die anyway. Wow. So I might as well just...
Typical UK, London mindset. Yeah.
Stepping over
someone
people,
else will do something.
having a heart attack on the underground. Just
no, don't say typical UK. I'm not typical UK, because you're going to see what happens next. So I see the beetle. I'm like, nah, I can't help. I was like, 2 days I didn't help it. How can I help it on the third?
That means I already didn't help. How am I gonna help him now?
That means I have to
the people still like, yo, please.
That means I have to accept that I've done something bad for the last 48 hours. So forget the beetle. So my daughter's like, I want to go in now. So I went in with her. As I went in, by the way, without going into details, there's been a little bit of an issue in my life over the last 48 hours. Been a little bit of an issue. There's been a friction in my life that's attempted to take me off my game. And as we know that when bad things happen in your life, you know it's due to your sins. You know it's directly due to your sins. Till now, I'm not convinced if I sinned in not helping the beetle. What I did realize is that, bro, I'm in need of some mercy from Allah. And I remember the hadith of the Prophet said, "Irhamu man fil ardi yarhamukum man fis sama." Okay, whoever is merciful to those on earth, then the one who is above the heavens will be merciful to that person. It was the most weirdest thing. I came back into my house after I was already on the balcony, and Allah sent me back out for a beetle. Allah sent me back out for a beetle, bruv. So I looked at the beetle and I looked closely and I was like, bruv, his stomach's actually been burnt because he's in the sun, rude boy. Man's been in the sun. And I just paused for a moment and I was like,
how did you know it was burnt?
Because you know when there's like white marks, you know when something black has been in the sun.
What a blue.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
it's-
No, it had marks. It had marks that showed the effect of the sun.
Let's not even start.
Blazing heat, bro, the Dubai heat. So
to the construction dust.
no.
Sure,
Okay. Either way, I'm saying I saw the beetle. I was just amazed. No, hear me. I was just amazed. Bro, it's every time I've seen it. I can't say that for 24 hours it was moving its legs like a madman trying to save itself. But every time I saw it over a 2+ day period, it was non-stop moving its legs, trying to get up. And for a second, I said to myself, I said, bro, like, as a matter of fact, this beetle was not more special than me. I'm a human. Allah's honored the human over these insects. And the things that I'm trying to achieve in my life are greater than what the beetle is trying to achieve. And I'm also more special and important than the beetle. But I don't think I've ever in my life worked as hard as the beetle has over the last 2 days. I was like, wow, this beetle for his life has worked harder than I have for anything I've ever done in my life. And then I was like, bro, you know what? Let me come save the beetle with Allah's permission. So I took a peg that was on the laundry thing and I flipped it. Like when I flipped the beetle, in a split second, everything was normal. Everything was normal. And he was completely healthy. He was running around, enjoying himself, going there, going here. The beetle is surviving. I deeped and I was like, rah. I was like, there's so many lessons in this. I was like, in a heartbeat, coming back to the diagram, this beetle's life completely went in a different trajectory. This beetle was going down. Yeah. Allah would send me, and Allah Azza wa Jal.
You should make this a little beetle. Little beetle emoji.
But I'm just deep for a second. Like, Allah would send me. Like this, I know this is divine decree because I didn't care for the beetle.
Yeah.
I did not care for the beetle. And this beetle's been in my head for 2 days, bruv. Do you understand? Allah would send me back out to give this beetle another chance.
Wow.
And then I sat down, and usually I go to my journal at night, but I went to it during the daytime, and I just wrote in there. I was like, bro, if only we moved our hands in du'a as frantically as this beetle moves its legs, Allah Azza wa Jalla would give us victory faster, give us the things that we want. And also, we should look out for those that are in need, especially when we're going through hardship, that Allah would have mercy on us. And I can't lie to you, bro. The little friction that I had in my life, uqsimu billah, akhi, the friction that I had in my life, broski, wallahi, since that moment, I started seeing things that was taking me out of it, like almost immediately.
You know, a benefit you gave to me in Ramadan, I don't know if you remember, you met a brother and he was just chatting about some...
Beetles?
No, it wasn't beetles, but some next thing that all three of us, me and Amin, I believe, all had zero to no interest in. But you inspired him that day. You know, you acted interested, you brought up your side of that, subhanAllah. I remember you said sometimes just, you know what I mean? Like sometimes just give back with no expectancy, like you could genuinely benefit someone. This is something that, a benefit I've taken, obviously without draining yourself as well, but, you know, a lot of people look at us in this podcast and sometimes like, yeah, they could have heard this thing a million times. But once you just reply to a DM or speak to them personally, you genuinely change that person's life. Yeah. And I believe, like, I don't know about you brothers, I'm sure you've heard it more than me, but one of the things that I genuinely try to make dua to Allah is to never become desensitized to a human being saying, you've changed my life. That's not a small thing. Especially when you look at this diagram, like, to change somebody's life, like this person, not only have you changed his life, is what I always tell people. If you change a man's life, you've changed his wife's life, all right? You've changed his kids, which changes generations upon generations upon generations. So it shows you how no small action is really a small action. Things have emergence properties, right? So even, I suppose, the inspiration is, whether it's a beetle, whether it's giving somebody genuine nasiha, or spending 30 minutes out of your day with someone, or taking someone for breakfast, or even if you don't want to do it, wallahi, you don't know what that could have an impact on. Like, think of it. For us, what's $10, $20, $30, $100, $1,000? But somebody, 1,000, wallahi, it's a lot. Like, that could take away all of the stress in this dunya right now. And to a billionaire, what's 100K? But that could take away some people's whole stress in their lives right now. So the point is, wallahi, you never know what small, how small something is. You don't know how big it is to someone else. No. Which is why, I encourage all of us, no matter how small we see our actions, we should still every day do something that it's like, you know, perhaps it was small, but it was a big deal. Like a benefit I stole from you, I hope you don't mind me mentioning on the podcast, is you know that the water bottles that you have right next to your door. You know, Allah Barik, yani, I see every time it's like you gatekeep that, like those water bottles belong solely to the delivery drivers, right? And every time a delivery driver comes, he gives you food, you give him a water bottle. How many times do you order in a day? Some of these guys are out in the roasting Dubai heat. Yeah. What is it? So I was like, I'm gonna compete with Sheikh, you know. I had to slap.
Do you want to compete with me?
I had to slap him.
The guy actually got the idea was from my man here.
Oh god.
But he doesn't like to serve humans. It's not beetles.
He likes to serve beetles.
It's not beetles.
Do you want to go with me?
Oh god.
I'll give it to the building security. So all of the
you upgraded from cats to humans now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay,
all of the delivery drivers, not just the ones that come to yours. Because if you do less deliveries, then obviously the guys who are coming in, they don't all get it.
Sure, some of them have no adab, yeah, fine. Some of them, wallahi, you see, like, bravo, he was smoked. A cold water bottle to him in that moment is like $1 million to a man in debt.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
I actually got the idea from a book called Zad, written by Islam Jamil, who's an author in the Arab world. And actually, two of his books were the biggest best-selling books in the Arabian world for, I think, 2-3 years straight. And this is a book basically about money. And I actually got the idea from him, and I mentioned just so that he can get the reward, inshallah ta'ala, as well. People can make dua for him and learn. I mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about when the Prophet said the best charity is water. And he was like, something as simple as that, bro. You don't know, akhi, like Allah could be preventing us from crazy problems that are happening in our life just because, you know, things like that. But with that said, we have to move to the What's Brewing segment. So I'm going to ask Bakr.
Do we have time for a What's Brewing segment?
Yeah, we do. We have time? Half an hour? 25 minutes? Okay, yeah, so we've got 20 minutes.
Yeah, I need to go to the toilet, so I'll be back.
Okay, so yeah, but we're going to swap over, inshallah. He's going to have to leave at 4 anyway, right?
Yeah, like shop. Inshallah, if you brothers
swap
don't
seats?
Yeah.
Is that necessary?
Don't worry.
Allah Barak, main man, Mr. Blue. I'm holding you up on that, didn't I, Sheikh?
More sense until Abbas comes back. Let me sit here so that there's not empty seat on the camera, so you can just use.
Oh, come.
That's that blue thought right there.
I'm holding you up on that, didn't I, though?
Don't worry, inshallah. We'll go 100%. Yeah. So let's talk about what's happening in the world right now. There's a lot happening. One thing I mentioned to you guys earlier. So the segment is called What's Brewing, where we discuss what's brewing in the world. I mean, is that the correct? I mean, this is the first time I heard about it today for the first time. So yeah, I did it justice here.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a person, I like to keep up to date with the news. There's two ways I keep up to date with the news. Number one, on YouTube, there's a, where you can see what's trending and stuff. There's one for news. And it'll show you regional news according to your account and whatnot. So that's one thing. Number two, stuff that I just Google search news, articles that come up. One thing I saw recently, and I saw a video, bro, was the wildfires that have taken over Israel right now. Right next to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Israeli, actually, there's entire sections where it's on fire, and the fire, it's not even like a normal fire, bro. I saw a video, it's reached their military bases, yeah? There's a video, there's 3 soldiers, they're in uniform, they're trying to close the door. And when there's like a...
What?
It's like a tornado of fire.
When did this fire start?
The last few days. I don't know exactly. I don't want to mention
last
exactly.
3-4 days ago.
But last 3-4 days ago, actually, there's a video. The guy's trying to close the door, and the other guy's saying, "I'll leave the door, just come inside." And he's trying to close the door, and the wind's blowing, and there's fire. Like, it's all red heat. Like, I was looking at that thinking, Jahannam number one, but also look at what they were doing to our brothers and sisters in Palestine with their bombs and with their thing. And you saw so many. There's a video that went viral with the guy in the fire, and he was in a hospital bed, and it was burning. I saw that. I said, look at that. And this is from no enemy brought this onto you. Allah brought this onto you directly. Is that not a sign? I saw videos where they're on the highway. They've abandoned their cars and they're running. And in the background, you can see the fire. Look at the fear you instilled into the hearts of the Palestinians. And look at the fear he instilled onto you off the back of that.
The immediate thing that comes to my mind here, Surah Al-Hashr, and the Prophet went up against these guys, and they broke the contract, Banu Nadir, and Allah He recounts the story because they were in these massive fortresses, and Allah Azza wa Jalla says that you thought that they couldn't be moved. Allah's telling the believers, you thought that these guys wouldn't leave. فَأَتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَمْ يَحْتَسِبُوا. Allah then said, but I attacked them from a place that even they never imagined. Forget you, they never imagined. وَقَذَفَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الرُّعْبِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla Allah said, I cast fear inside of their hearts. And they started to break their homes with their own hands. Point being here, alhamdulillah, I actually remember we had this conversation with Ustad Yassin when we just went to umrah. I'm not sure if you were in the room or not. And I was speaking with him and we were talking, and I was like, we were just talking about how strong the enemy is, like in terms of like the military strength, the economic strength. I remember he said, فَأَتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَمْ يَحْتَسِبُوا. So Allah's going to attack them from a place they don't imagine. Oof. And subhanallah al-azim, لَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. You don't know the army of Allah. No one knows the army of Allah Azza wa Jal, except for Allah Azza wa Jal himself. And this is very interesting news.
The fire has the right to burn itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
One thing that I don't know, this is gonna sound strange, yeah? But one thing that came to my mind, I don't know why. Remember I told you I was gonna do that pray Fajr for Palestine challenge. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I said it was a 10-day challenge. I said Muslims pray Fajr for 10 days. The fire started on the 10th day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Allah knows what to do. I actually stopped it myself. I saw some comments. Some people mentioned about intention. Even I thought, wait, is that even right? Showing off good deeds and so on and so forth.
I think that's such a stretch, bro. You are encouraging people who do not pray.
Either way,
but go to protest, but do not pray.
You're watching this video, you're automatically enrolled in the Pray Fajr for Palestine challenge. For the next 10 days straight, you have to wake up every single morning, pray Fajr, and then take a picture of your prayer mat or of the masjid or a video to show that you've prayed your salah. Now, some of you might be wondering, but wait, isn't that exposing my good deeds? Well, yes, it is, but in certain situations, it's allowed. Like, for example, when you're trying to inspire others to do a similar good deed. Guys, wallahi, if we were to do this en masse, the same number of people that attend protests were to do this, inshallah, give it 10 days, 1st of May, we'll see the difference, inshallah. We'll see the results. Because remember, one of the ways to make dua to Allah, like the story of the 3 guys that were trapped in the cave with the boulder, each of them made a dua to Allah because of a good deed to help them get out of that situation. So the same way you can make dua to Allah, Ya Allah, because I woke up for Fajr and I pray this Fajr, for your sake of course, but please, because of this, help and aid our brothers and sisters in Palestine, and then let's see the results. Because the last thing you want to do is be a person who boycotts McDonald's and Starbucks and all these other places, but also without knowing boycott Salah as well. So share this video, send it around, PFFP, let's see what happens inshallah. Either way, so I had in my mind, I mean, alhamdulillah, a lot of people saw it, a lot of people, some people were sending me DMs showing me that they were doing it, right? Where they weren't praying Fajr before, so I'm praying now and I'm making dua for Palestine while I'm doing this. People, there were so many people, right? If you go to the original video and look at the comments, so many people saying, bro, this is a joke. You're talking about Salah, we need armies, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. Akhi, I'm not saying, by the way, that because of this challenge that I started, the fire came. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, look at what's possible.
I'll tell you something similar.
Look at what's feasible.
So you know when, alhamdulillah, now Allah He liberated Syria. But back when Aleppo was being taken, when the Russians were bombing and the old regime's army was bombing and they were closing in on the Muslims in Aleppo, I remember for days, everyone was protesting hard, right? And I even remember I drove past the protest, I put a video online saying, guys, everyone's protesting here. Wallahi, if everyone just went and made dua, and the victory of Allah would come. Like this is a promise of Allah. Like, just make dua. Like, Allah literally says, if you make dua, I will respond. Like, do it. But we just refuse. No. We make dua, but we're going to protest. You put more energy in protest than you do in dua. Ala kullin, so we did an event called Aleppo's been taken. And we went through, the Islamic perspective on the issue and the importance of turning back to Allah Azza wa Jal, Tawbah, sins. And Ustad Abdurrahman did a beautiful qunut, dua.
That was a powerful one. I remember the video.
Right? Bakr actually reposted it after to show that the dua came true. I actually remember something that happened. So everyone was protesting. Bro, you could just cut through, bro. Don't worry. We keep it regular. Everyone was protesting like this was the only solution. And in the protest, what was the whole point of the protest? Begging the Western governments to please interfere.
I just don't get it. For me, that's the biggest thing.
I just don't get it.
That's like, for me, to have izzah.
Right. But that's what people don't realize is that you're begging the guys who created the Zionist institution in Israel, or in Palestine, I should say. You're begging them, hey, the guys who literally who put the knife in our back, can you please pull it out? Anyways, that's not the point I'm making. None of that worked. And then I remember there was a video that came up by a journalist that was in Aleppo who was saying, guys, I think this is our last hour. They have closed in and you're hearing bombs. He said,
every direction,
this is my last message to you guys. I don't think I'm going to make it out after this. I remember at that time, again, I'm not saying
that this was a
because of my
direct
dua, whatever,
correlation,
but I remember at that time, I was with some brothers in my house. We went into salah and we started making dua. We did the dua qunut, and all that was happening on Twitter. Guys, dua. Everyone at that time realized the solution. That should have been the first thing. At that moment, it was annihilation. It was complete annihilation. But everyone did this. Akhi, I finished the salah, not my dua. I'm saying everyone's dua. The ummah's dua. I went online. They said, guys, a ceasefire agreement has been agreed. Allah sent the rain and the Russian planes couldn't fly. And it gave Turkey enough time to get involved and say, look, ceasefire. And Allah will just saved the day. Do you understand? I'm saying, and yes, they still did overtake the region, but without all the bloodshed, which allowed for a day to come when Allah would ultimately.
It was so quickly, 10 days, 11 days, and it was wrapped
So
up.
what else on the news?
So that's that. And by the way, just to clarify, disclaimer, for people that weren't familiar, the purpose, the challenge was basically just pray Fajr and at Fajr time, or just before Fajr time, at Tahajjud time, just make dua for the Palestinians. Because the reality is, a lot of people don't pray Fajr.
Yeah.
They'll go to protest, they'll boycott, we're not praying Fajr. So
they get tired of protesting, so they can't wake up.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
That's mad.
No, missing
I've
salah
seen
for
that,
protest
like,
is crazy. That's
like
insane.
limbs are tired.
No, but even physically at protests, people will go to protests for 7 hours, stand and...
Yeah, exactly. They're
They
tired.
actually won't pray. They'll miss the salah time, will come in and out at the protest.
But they're not, look, a lot of them do arrange salah there because that's a complaint that people are going to say, bruv, no, we pray.
You're not being fit. No,
Right.
you're
Yeah,
right. But
they
we're
do
saying
pray.
this is something that
Sorry,
happens.
shoulder to shoulder, the sisters.
I've seen.
No, but look.
But we also, at the same time,
I don't want to mock them
At
either
the same
because
time-
like, says-
No, it's
but
not
bro,
mockery, it's not
one
mockery.
thing I've seen
It's important to mention that what you just mentioned is an exception.
Yeah.
That's not what generally happens at protests. If people arrange
and I used to
salah
go to protests back in the day.
protest,
I'm talking
it's
Jahiliyyah.
not generally speaking. They do the adhan and everyone's lining up for
I
salah.
wasn't
That's
praying.
generally
Yeah,
happen.
My guys weren't praying.
don't worry, I know protests.
One of the guys was going to link his girl.
Yeah.
It was a motive for them. Protest. But my point is,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, and I see videos, bro, online.
It was going viral. Guys were saying go get girls at protests on TikTok.
I mean, guys are saying go to Taraweeh in East London
As well, yeah.
But my point is
Mariam Center.
but I'm saying, I see videos, bro. These guys, they're drumming and they're singing Falastini, and they're doing drums and they're not.
That's
Bro,
mad.
like,
That's
come on,
mad.
man. You think this is gonna do anything to anything? Anyway, bottom line is that's what the challenge was. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep praying
making
your salah.
dua.
Keep making your dua. You'll see what the results will come. Inshallah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're not saying that there aren't other things to help, but I'm saying a man has to do whatever is within his capacity.
Within his capacity.
Right? All right, Jameel.
Okay.
What else?
By the way, on this same note as well, so there's something else that happened as well in the news actually
Go on.
to do with the Palestinian
Sorry,
issue.
can I just explain to people why we're even discussing this segment, right?
Go on.
So I'm a person who doesn't keep up with the news. I don't enjoy the news. I don't like the news, but I have come to realize that it's very important to know what's going on in the world. And I remember something that a sheikh said many, many years ago. He said, I don't watch the news. He goes, to me, the news is what I get informed by my neighbor when I step out my house. Because if it's important to reach me, it will reach me because my neighbor will tell me.
So I'm the neighbor.
So you're the neighbor.
I'm the neighbor.
And we are your neighbor. The whole point of this segment is that, listen, if you don't watch the news, the stuff that's most important that's affecting Muslim entrepreneurs, Muslims that are, in the da'wah, that have something that they're trying to do which is important, you will bring that to our attention and we'll discuss it here.
Yep.
So another thing that happened related to Israel-Palestine as well was that there was a aid ship. There's a complete blockade right now. Aid's not able to go in.
Yeah,
Israel's
for the last
blocked
2
it off.
months.
Last 2 months now.
Yeah.
Over 8 weeks. Land, sea, air, everything. They've fully cut it off. So a group of activists, they got a boat together, a massive ship, and loaded it with fuel, and about 20, 30 activists went on it. And they were setting off from Malta. So they went in international waters off the coast of Malta, planning to go to Gaza, and Israel sent 2 drones to attack the ship.
Yeah.
And they set
On
the ship on
international
fire
waters.
in international water, and their ship actually started to sink. Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
She was on the ship. It was very random. I don't know. I just saw she was on the ship apparently, and she was one of the activists. There's a group of activists, right? They just wanted to, their thing was, we're going to break the blockade. We've actually found a ship. We're going to take the ship, and we're just going to sail onto the shore of Gaza and hand out this aid. And Israel actually they hit it. Well, I don't think there's been an actual official full-on investigation where somebody can conclusively say that, bro, like everyone's reporting that it was them.
Yeah.
They did it, right? And it just goes to show actually the absolute disregard for international law, bro. It's a joke. There's no standard. There's no, like, people think that, oh yeah, no, but America, these countries, they don't care.
I think international law is like fiat currency. It's like It's just that people, like the currency has no actual value. It's just
It only exists to serve your own benefit.
Right, and in a sense where it only has value because we give it value.
Yeah, that's the correct way to
right,
say it.
likewise,
Which is that it basically, in the case of law, in fact, even you, brother, you probably studied this. Basically, the way laws are set up is to protect people who with more power from people with less power. But that only works if the people with more power agree.
And they just...
Understand? Yeah, if they agree and they're like, okay, fine, we'll follow this, etc. But if all of the weaker powers are saying, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and they're like, I don't care, they can just do whatever they want.
And that just goes to show me, like, bro, you are protesting, trying to convince these guys who clearly do not give a damn. There's no international outcry over this. There's no big hoo-ha. But if bro, it doesn't even make sense. Anyway, coming to the UK now.
Yeah, but that's a recent phenomenon though. Right. If you, especially in British history, if you peel back the years, protesting was a effective way to, maybe not for foreign policy, but for domestic policy, to change domestic policy.
No,
yeah, bro,
that's rioting. That's different.
Okay, okay. If you
standing in a corner,
if you want to draw the line, that's fine. That's reasonable.
Please, no. You're talking about poll tax when, bro, they went around this
violent.
Police cars,
violent.
Anarchy, violence.
I'm talking about like mini revolt.
Not that we're saying.
Not that we're saying go smash anything.
No, me. I'm just saying that
effectiveness.
I'm just saying that it teaches the people that if you fight hard enough, the government will change their policy. That's what it teaches them. It does.
It's called civil disobedience.
Yeah.
Right?
Civil, I don't know what it's called. But
civil disobedience.
Coming to the UK now, on top of civil disobedience, there's recent by-elections, right, which are like, they're not like the actual elections. They're like, how would you describe by-elections? It's kind of like a smaller version of an election. It's like after the actual election, there's like a little by-election, and this is like for councillors and stuff.
Constituency seats, right?
Like midterm election for America.
Something like that along those lines. And Reform UK won a lot of seats.
Which is?
It's Nigel, I don't know if it's his party, but he's like the face of the party. And they're like what UKIP used to be, basically.
Okay.
Right wing, anti-Islam, far right.
Yeah.
And they took seats by storm, bro. From I don't want to quote numbers, but even from the Conservatives, they took seats. From the Labour, they took seats. They're like actually surging right now, which shows
Islamophobia on the rise.
Islamophobia is on the rise. Like John and Fred and Perry, who are at work, are smiling at you. A lot of these guys are voting Reform. And there was an interview, right, with this one woman. I think she won, but I don't know how. Like, she actually landslide victory. And there's an interview that Sky News was doing with her. They were asking her, you made a statement in your thing that asylum seekers or was it immigrants should be housed in tents. They shouldn't be put in buildings or hotels, stuff like that. They should be in tents. So they were like, they asked her, what about like asylum seekers? It's not like legitimate asylum seekers, people like the Ukrainians, for example. For them, we should house them. But look at that. Look, even when she said that, first what came to my mind was, why would you specify Ukrainians? Because they're white.
White with blue eyes.
They're white. They're Eastern European. Without saying it, what she was saying was basically, and this is what people are voting for. This is what people want. Like, when you say this is a fringe thing, this is not a fringe thing anymore. This is en masse and it's growing. Like, I'm saying, I get it all the time. Like when I talk about, as you said earlier, I'm talking about hijrah. I'm in agreement with these guys. Let's get the Muslims out. But because it's on our terms, they don't like it. But it's funny because I actually get DMs from kufar sometimes for advice on how to leave. Or saying that they actually want to leave as well. Like,
oh really?
But I'm not Muslim, but I would like to leave. Like, what advice would you give? I also get, like one guy, he's messaging me saying "Paki." I get that as well. Just people I responded to.
You know what? Yo, he's funny, bro.
It's funny. I just said to him, Brit.
That's a diss now.
Bro, you're a Brit.
That's a diss.
Wow.
Sam, what's up in the US, man? What's affecting us right now, man, on the economic level?
I think recently the report came out. It had to be finalized. The economy of United States of America shrunk by 0.3%. 0.3%. So because America's economy is so big, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot. 0.3% of the largest economy in the world.
Yes. And the proper definition of recession is if the economy shrinks for 2 quarters in a row.
Okay.
So it has already shrunk the first quarter. We have to see what happens in Q2. And the reason for it being, what is GDP? It's basically consumption plus investment plus government spending minus imports in all of these sections, right? So the import went up a lot because of Trump's new tariff. So what these businessmen wanted to do is before the tariff kicks off, they wanted to import as many things as possible before the tariff officially kicked off. So the import number went up. That's why the GDP went down.
Okay.
So it's not like actually the production in America is going down.
So GDP is import versus export, right? So
that's a really, really crude definition. Basically, it's just the money that flows in the economy. When people pay for stuff that's from outside in other economies,
it's minus.
Will go down.
It's minus.
Even that's a little bit too technical because it took me years to actually understand this. And that.
Basically, the money that if we're an economy, the five of us, if we change hands together, our economy is going to grow. If we get money from outside,
it's our production, right?
Yes, our production.
If we get money from outside,
GDP is your
our economy goes. If you start spending money with Saud, our economy is going to go down.
Right, so GDP is our production, what we produce, or any particular economy produces.
Minus what we import from
others because you haven't produced that.
Yes.
You've sent them money. And okay, cool.
Correct.
You've helped increase their
production.
GDP. Yeah. Okay, Jimmy. So 2 drops in GDP.
2 quarters in a row is officially recession. That's the official definition.
But you know, the gas price should have been a sign, though.
Yeah.
It should have been a sign.
Oh, Bakr, quickly. Yeah. One second. You need to leave, right? Okay, cool. Can you sit there?
I can.
Okay, just... my testimony just to be these 2 cameras, yeah? Sorry, guys. We're swapping spaces. Bakr, just quickly explain to us what is tariffs? What is tariffs? Because he's saying that tariffs have... because of the whole tariff thing, it's what's affected the GDP, right? But what are tariffs?
So a tariff is a charge that your government will put on imports coming into the country from a particular country to make it either more appealing or less appealing for businesses to import from that country. So, for example, let's just say Trump right now. Yeah. That's the relevant example right now, right? He, at least what he's saying is he wants to encourage businesses to, instead of importing goods, manufacture them in America. Pieces that will bring jobs to America, that will bring a lot of more money come into America. So he's put for example, I think it's 145% tariff.
Yeah, 145% on China. Yep.
So this means that if you want to buy something from China, you have to factor in the cost of the product, but then also you have to pay a tariff to the government, to the American government. You have to pay, again, not the Chinese seller doesn't have to pay. You, as the one importing it in, to get it out of customs, you have to pay the tariff. So what this does, essentially, because I saw, for example, there was people who have businesses, solopreneurs, right?
Sorry, before you go to the example, I just think it's important to land this point because this is something I only learned in the last 7 days, which is that the tariffs are not paid by the country that they're put on.
No.
So when Trump is putting 145% tariff on China,
it's not Chinese sellers.
It affects China because people will buy less from China, but the one who pays
they're not paying it. The consumers.
The consumers are paying it.
So, for example, like I've seen videos online of like solopreneurs. Yeah, like there's one guy, he had like an e-com business.
Yeah.
He had his own product that he made and he manufactured. And so he had done his first sell. It went really well. He made some money. This was all of his money. He put it in, I think, like $80,000 worth of goods. He bought and obviously to get it shipped by sea, which is the cheapest way to do it, takes time.
Yeah.
So by the time when he ordered it to when it was arriving, tariffs were announced.
Yes.
So he was like, he said, in order for him to get his goods when they arrive in a week or two from the customs, he would have to pay another 80,000, which he does not have.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I don't know what to do.
Total washout. Yeah.
What do I do in this situation?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to take a loan to pay 80,000? Does he even have a margin? Is it even worth paying the 80,000 if he's got 50% margin? No, it's not. If you present it back, what does he do? So he's an American business that's going to have to go bankrupt or just whatever because of these tariffs. Now, one could argue that's short-term effect for some people, but in the long run, now steel will be manufactured in but I find that silly because, bro, who the hell in America is going to be working in a factory doing the job?
Exactly. So it's completely flawed. There won't be any jobs coming back to America.
Sense,
no.
Like, bro,
I actually looked into this, right? So the biggest steel manufacturer in America used to, 50 years ago, before a lot of the stuff was outsourced. The biggest steel manufacturer in America back 50 years ago and even now used to have 30,000 employees. Today they only have 5,000.
Yes, and no Americans will go back to those jobs even if they come back.
Those jobs are not even available because of automation.
Automate, exactly the second point. So it doesn't make any sense.
Like if you go to a Tesla factory.
Yeah, it's all automated.
Robots.
Yeah, it's all robots. Yeah.
So I'm saying that I don't understand that thinking. Like, what's man doing? This is
I think
this is your guy.
There's multiple things to consider, but I mean, some of it maybe to just not. It's like these guys are ops. I don't want to keep giving these guys our resources. Our money goes to them. Our GDP, it goes down because it goes to them, and it's not like a symbiotic relationship. The Chinese obviously benefit from US people buying their stuff, but they don't buy anything from them. China has no need to buy goods and services from America. They all of their stuff is in-house anyway.
I know, but I'm just trying to understand what
Really interesting
like,
government.
has he mentioned, or do you know what the strategy is here?
I think the strategy was initially to strong arm people,
Okay.
to strong arm the countries, but I think that didn't work. That's why
So you think it was a negotiation tactic?
it was a negotiation tactic.
Okay.
It was not a tax, it was a tactic,
Okay.
you know? And it didn't work. You know how it didn't work? Like how I know that was the plan, why I think, because he keeps delaying the implementation
the
of
outcome.
it.
Yeah.
He says 1 month later, then
Yeah.
3 months later. Now I think the effective date is July 9th or something.
Wow.
So he keeps pushing it because it's not an actual tax, it's a tactic.
Mhm.
And he thought how the world would react. Well, doesn't care about America anymore. And Sheikh, the brighter side here.
But did you see the Chinese foreign minister when
Oh,
the British
yes.
lady asked him,
Yeah.
how do you feel about,
He called
US
the
dollar-
Americans peasants.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He said, this is what he said. He said US dollars, she said US dollars contribute 15% to China's economy, right?
Yeah.
And he said, we don't care.
Yes.
We don't care, bruv. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, I can tell when someone says they don't care,
Yeah.
but they actually do, I can see it. He actually doesn't care. He was like, bro, we don't care. And he said something like, if this doesn't work out, our people will just go back to what we did before. We're farmers,
Yep.
and we're doing
Yep.
this, and we're doing that. We'll just everything will
Yeah.
just go back. It is fine. Well, as in, if these people don't buy from us and it flops, it's cool with us as well. He's fine. It was
One
fine,
reference I want to
honestly.
give our audience.
I'm not in praise of the Chinese government, but that
Yeah.
was serious. That was gangster. That was a hard.
100%.
Like, he
man.
put on a very serious political front, and I'm sure it put motivation and aspiration into the cabinet. They were like, yes.
So go on, something. you were gonna-
Absolutely. One recommendation I want to give the audience, like there's just type up Singapore Prime Minister Trump tariff. He does a 20-minute speech to his parliament, like very well, like broken down. Anybody could understand what's going on. He's completely anti the tariff. But the way he explains, man, it's like anybody could just like listen to that 20-minute video and understand everything. In short, basically, the whole trade route is going to be like redesigned. And the whole trade route was actually put in place by America, like the international trade routes.
Mhm.
But now people are finding other ways. For example, in Dubai, because it's a freehold, tax-free, so a lot of these things are coming to Dubai now and ship it from Dubai to America. So instead of paying 145%, you pay 10%.
Because the tariffs are cheaper. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So from China to Dubai, it's tax-free.
Okay.
And then from Dubai to America, it's 10%. Versus China to America, it's 145%.
So does that benefit this region?
Of course it
Okay.
does. And I think it benefits the East in general, man.
Yeah.
So Allah's army, you don't know where it comes from.
Right. So
Soldiers, yeah.
so the reason why I think this is important to discuss, and I've taken a keen interest in all things to do, not all, but things to do with economics, is because the Prophet ﷺ really had very good economic tactics that he used to weaken the Quraysh.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to call it a trade war. Like when the Battle of Badr happened, it happened on the back of the Prophet ﷺ attacking
the caravan.
the trade routes. Yeah, he was
Mhm.
sending sarai, these small groups of
Another
Sahaba
point you mentioned on the podcast, Sheikh,
Yeah.
He sent the wealthy Sahabas to...
to Abyssinia.
that was
Yeah, yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah, many of the wealthiest Sahaba were taken out of the
Economy.
economy in totality. So there's many examples of that. But I think it's important to know because sometimes, like, look, I'll be honest with you. When I was growing up and 9/11 happened and the Iraq war happened and the war in Afghanistan happened, I was convinced this was Illuminati. And when people said to me, brother, they did it for oil, I didn't believe them.
Really?
I didn't believe them. I said, bro, that's too much of a simple answer.
It's really interesting.
No, bro, there was obviously other factors. There's the thing that came out that Netanyahu at the time was actually really egging
Advocating,
on the American government.
We need to take Saddam Hussein out.
Right. And so on and so forth. He mentions it in a book specifically that he published in the 90s. But point being is that, bro, they actually went for oil. That's it.
Have you seen that movie Avatar, the really old film? 2009.
I haven't.
Okay.
But the
But
point,
basically, the reason I mentioned is because the whole thing was there's a corporation that's trying to take over this planet so they can get access.
oh,
to this
Avatar,
resource.
yeah, Avatar, yeah.
With
I wanna say-
the blue people.
The blue on it.
Yeah, it's so funny. They called it unobtainium.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole point of the movie is, are they going to genocide these people so we can get the? That's exactly play for play what you're talking about here.
Right. So I'm saying it's important for us to know these things.
Yeah.
Because, bro, you're out here screaming, protests. You don't realize that the Zionist lobby funds Keir Starmer, bruv. I think 50+% of people that have seats in Congress are funded, their bills are paid for by Zionist lobby. And England, I think, is 30% plus, including the Prime Minister of the country. You know what I'm saying? So all things economy, or not all things, but many things economy are very important. So, Sam, question for you then, right? Because tariffs, if they're coming around, that's going to, at least people in America, and I don't claim to be an economist in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how this is going to really affect people on a deeper level. But from an American's perspective, right? Is this a good time to get into entrepreneurship, especially things like e-com, where you're probably going to be buying products from America or other countries that are coming in? Like, I'm just wondering, because we have a big, entrepreneurial audience, guys that are in the e-com space.
Yeah.
If someone's got money right now, does he invest in new stock? Does he get into e-com if he's been thinking about e-com? Does he set up a service-based business? Does he take that money? Does he put it into investments? Like, what are your thoughts here?
So I think generally the principle, Sheikh, what I believe is earning your way to millions could be a shorter way, but more shorter way is investing your way to millions. Okay, so whatever your active income is, we need to invest a healthy portion of it, regardless of this tariff war, not tariff war, what's happening. But specifically, I think there will be many moving parts in America. I was just on a call with one of my agents in Michigan today, and he was saying, brother, things are changing, and things are changing pretty quickly, pretty fast.
Because of the tariff thing?
Like the whole uncertainty. It's not only tariffs, because a lot of the tariffs are not even implemented yet, but it's just the uncertainty. He announces one day tariff from tonight, midnight. Then he says, oh, we were having good talks with China. Then China says, oh, we never spoke with him. He says, no, we had a good talk with China and we're not going to, do the tariff for another 90 days, but then China says we never had a talk with him,
Even with Iran, with the nuclear, they were saying, yeah, we're going to have direct talks in Iran. What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Yeah. Exactly. So this whole uncertainty makes it very risky, Sheikh, to start anything new, any new ventures. So stick to your craft, your skill, what's proven basically. Trade your skill for money and use that money, invest in a safe vehicle. And that's what I follow regardless of what's happening with the economy, Sheikh, anyways.
But yeah, because I was just thinking right now, subhanAllah, in times of this type of uncertainty, like does a person hold on to the money that he has in case like we get into a depression? Or does he take that money and invest it?
Tangible. So, put it in something tangible.
For
gold,
example,
real estate. These are tangible stuff. And you cannot produce new gold. You cannot produce new real estate. Allah has already created how much of art He has created. That's it.
That's it. I think an important point to consider here, right, is that I think definitely what one shouldn't be doing at this time is buying on just wastefully spending, man.
Oh, 100%.
And I came across something that really, really hit me for six recently. So Warren Buffett for years didn't get a haircut because he understood that the price of a haircut, which I think was $2 at the time, this in a few years could cost him $10,000 because of how wealth compounds when you invest.
Yeah.
It's actually deep when you think about it, right? Like if I have, for example, $10,000 or $20,000, I buy a car, I buy a house, I buy this, I buy that. If I put that into something that was going to compound for me, actually that's not 10K I've spent. The potential of that wealth is maybe 1.5 million. You mentioned, for example, those that invest with you.
100,000.
100,000.
In 7 rounds, it'll be like 1.5 million.
1.5 million.
Yeah.
So 100K, which I think most people that have a good income will probably burn in a year very, very easily on things that they didn't have to. That's
1.5 million.
1.5 million.
Over like 14-ish years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What about the guy who's got $500,000 or more that he could have invested that he didn't or whatever have you? So I think even now more than ever, and it just there's definitely something to be said for, man, like lack of access to this type of knowledge. And most people don't understand how wealth compounds. The concept of what's the word? There's a word that slipped my brain. What do you call that? Exponential growth.
Exponential growth.
Our minds are not wired to think in terms of exponential numbers. Like if one doubles, if you keep doubling one, you get to some crazy number after like 20 doubles. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people, obviously, look, I know you're not trying to, promote this or whatever have you, but I'm asking just out of concern for our brothers and our sisters who might be watching and thinking, you know what, I do have money. I want to know a bit more of a direct place to put it. Obviously, you, mashallah, tabarakallah, have a 100% riba-free fund, and you've just got a round that you're doing fundraising for right now here in Dubai. Allah barik. What are the opportunities, and is this a vehicle that's tangible for people?
Yes, absolutely, Sheikh. So basically, this is a plot of land that we bought. And people are investing in the development of the land. So they're partnering up in the development itself. Because a real estate that we see, we buy from the market. We buy it at the very retail phase.
Okay.
For example, it's like ordering a Turkish rug on Amazon. It gets delivered to your door. And you do whatever you want to do with it. So that's very retail.
Yeah.
The same example, if you're buying a property from the market, still good investment, but you're buying all the way at the end. You're not at the top of the food chain. But when you partner up with a developer who's taking a raw piece of land and putting the structure on top of it, you're partnering at the production level. You're at the top of the food chain. So the margin you have is double digit because you're coming in early, you're coming in the top of the food chain. And the reason we take money from the investors at that stage is because I don't go to banks to take riba, right? So 15 to 20% of the whole project costs I would finance out of my own pocket, and the rest 80 to 85%, depending on the size of the project, we raise capital from investors who care for Sharia compliant, completely riba-free, no leverage at all investments. And our target return usually is at least 50% in 2 years. If we don't make that target, the way we underwrite the deal, we don't go for that deal because we want to incentivize the investors a lot because we're not going to the bank.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
You should mention a different analogy for that, to be honest.
Please, I would love it.
No, I'm just saying you can come up with whatever one you want, but when you said you buy something at the retail phase, what that means is this thing from its, like the factors that make this thing, it's changed hands so many times.
Exactly.
And every time it changes hands, somebody takes a profit.
Markup.
Somebody takes a profit from that.
Yep.
Right? Like for example...
the biggest of which is at the very beginning.
Yeah, so exactly, yeah. And the person who pays at the end, like the end consumer, that person has to pay essentially through the price. They will end up paying all of the profit back to all of them. Exactly. So the example that I give actually is because my dad used to be a butcher. So like he used to sell meat in a butcher shop, right?
Yeah.
So the person who buys the meat, they get it at a higher price than the person who obviously sells the meat in the shop, who gets it at a higher price than the slaughterhouse, who gets it at a higher price than the farm.
Yep.
If you want the cheapest meat, you have to buy it from the farm. Exactly. It can't change hands this many times. Otherwise, you end up paying the highest price.
But then the issue is there with the farm. You have to put in the effort and the work to actually slaughter it, cut it into pieces. So a lot of time and effort goes in.
Yeah,
whereas
there is a convenience factor, of course.
When you partner up with the developer,
Amazon,
when you partner up with the developer, all the work is being done for you. In this investment.
On that same example, it's like you're developing, you're partnering up with the farmer.
Yeah. Exactly.
In that sense. Right? Or the shepherd.
So the farmer's going to do all the work. You just put the money in.
It's a joint venture.
He makes the money. Boom. It's done.
It's a standard mudaraba in the Sharia, right? Standard mudaraba, which is that I bring the money, you bring the work. Right? Jameel. So is there any danger here in terms of like the tariff side of things? Like can this tariff discussion affect those that might want to partner up with you here in Dubai?
Not necessarily, no, Sheikh. At least as far as we could see right now. Because the taxes on Dubai or UAE is 10%. But that does not affect us because we're owning the supply chain from China. So what we have to worry about is the relationship between UAE and China, right? So we are getting all the materials ourselves directly for our construction company. And there is no tariffs or taxes on China for UAE.
So this does
not affect anything.
This is not affected in any way, shape, form. Jameel, alhamdulillah. So guys can check that out. MashaAllah. Sam at the link below. Bakr, what else is on the news, bro? What's brewing?
That's it, really.
I want to talk about something.
Of course.
So recently, Apple lost they had a lawsuit by Epic Games. Do you know Epic Games?
Yeah.
They make Fortnite.
Yes.
Or some other games or something.
Unfair practice.
Yes, I've been following that, but I didn't see the recent one.
Anti-competitive practices via the App Store. This is something that is if you're an app developer,
repeat that.
They're called anti-competitive practices.
Yeah.
So Apple should
no Epic Games. So basically, I'll tell you how it works, right? So if you have an app or if you want to have an app and you sell something digital, so for example, for me, I sell Cinematch, right? Apple charges a 30% fee on every transaction. And people have complained and said, bro, this is really, really unfair. But on top of it, they don't let you pay some other way. I tried to do that. I tried to...
They used to allow you to.
No, never. They've never, ever allowed it.
As in you could click and go to a browser in Safari.
As in some apps make it through, but the official policy is they don't let that slide, right? They only want you to pay. They force you to pay through in-app payments. And the Apple's reviewers are human. They don't even have like AI or anything. A person goes through and clicks every single button in your app and sees, sometimes they even read the terms and conditions and stuff. One time I was flagged for a weird condition in the TNC. Anyways, what happened is Epic Games, obviously they're a huge company, so 30% is a gigantic chunk of their revenue. It's like, so they were like, look, we're going to take these guys to court because their 30% is an unfair, unreasonable amount to charge. And it started like 5 years ago. And they were making some progress in the EU or in the US, I can't remember exactly where. And then afterwards, 5 years later now, it was literally, the axe fell down yesterday that Apple is not allowed to force people to pay through IAP in-app purchases. You're allowed to link to a Stripe page on your app.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal because anybody, if you have an app at all, that's 30% of your revenue you get to save.
Huge deal, man.
Yeah.
So
game changer.
Yeah, as in that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you exited at the wrong time. You stayed in for a few more months.
Say that again?
You should have stayed in the cinema for a few more months.
Wallah, I'm very happy with whatever Allah decreed to me, man. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with what Allah decreed to me.
That's a big deal coming through on the tech side.
Don't worry, we're going to take...
Should we have a tech segment?
The fact that we mentioned Sunnah Match right now, we've got affiliate commission at the link below.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, bro, I've been speaking now there's law, no more, there's no conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Bro, I'll take the link.
I'll take the 30%.
Take the link.
I'll take the 30% that Apple used to take.
What was I going to say to you? Speaking of law, you just reminded me that there was a recent Supreme Court case in the UK where they said groundbreaking. They said a woman is a woman.
Oh,
wow.
Earth-shattering news.
2025.
Fresh breath of air.
It took five judges, I don't know how many judges,
to
finally rule that a woman is actually a woman. So to use a woman's toilets, you have to actually be a woman. Biological
good
woman.
Progress, by the way.
One sec, so this was a 10-year
more than
discussion. No, we don't know as in 10 years.
What is a woman? Yeah.
What is a woman? Yeah.
So how the LGBT community taking this?
They're throwing a tantrum, innit?
Yeah.
They're throwing a tantrum, so all of us safe.
I have one more news to share. I think on the brighter side, and because I think it will, it's a good investigation for you to do, brother. Because a lot of people, our parents, moved from the east to the west because of like better economy and whatnot. Now that we got what we needed, I think it's time to go back to the east or come back to the east, right? So of course, there's many options in the east, but I'm from Bangladesh, so I can only speak about Bangladesh. Alhamdulillah, Bangladesh is making a lot of good progress, man. So they just put out Bangladesh Vision 2035.
Oh wow!
Just to even have the courage to put it out, it's a huge win. That's in and of itself.
After the recent events with the
yes, and mashallah, the way they presented it. So Bangladesh Investment Summit 2025. That's what you guys need to check out on YouTube. It's in English actually, guys. You'll find it phenomenal.
Wow!
It's a 20-minute speech by a Bangladeshi, but he speaks English. You'll be like captivated, like oh my god. And then he explains the goal is by 2035 for Bangladesh economy to become a $1 trillion economy and become the 25th largest economy in the world by 2035. And they lay out the plans in order to do that.
Do they mention what industries they want to get into?
Yes, mostly the tech and logistics.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, the Chittagong port, they already started the work to make it 3x larger than what currently is. And they're making the Chittagong port like a Jebel Ali port, a free zone. So foreigners could go and trade tax-free.
Do you know what this is amazing? Because
tax-free.
Yeah. Do you know what this is amazing, Alhamdulillah? Because I remember watching
new routes though.
Watching
it's not as big, isn't it? So they have to go all the way around India.
Yes.
I remember watching the news as a teenager, my early teens, right? And I don't know why I always remember this segment. They were talking about the worst places on earth to live.
And Bangladesh was there?
Dhaka was number one in terms of like the worst place. And then it was Nairobi and, this is
that the same one that says like Sweden is number one or something?
No, it was a study that they had published. But and I'm not saying that it was. I'm not.
Right. But I'm saying being there embarrassing,
But I'm saying, but the fact that they've managed to make so much progress, it just shows you again how quickly.
Yes.
It's Allah can just change the trajectory of our life.
On that note, even Vision 2030 is giving a report every year now. Saudi's one, to keep it completely transparent. So I was going through the whole report because I have to study as part of what's happening in the GCC. And what stood out for me, their target was in 2024, 7 million people will make umrah, 7 million pilgrims. It was 16.9 million.
What?
16.9 million in 2024.
Allah, and that was supposed to be about 2030?
That was, in 2024 target. Like they're making
the target
was 7.
Target was 7, the actual was 17. Almost 17.
Oh, wow.
Alhamdulillah. So they were able to facilitate. And many other data, the hospitality. Medina is one of the top 25 destinations worldwide.
Whoa.
You know, in terms of hospitality, hotels, everything. Everything, alhamdulillah. Now they're going to publish these reports every year. So I think instead of...
I'm not actually, I struggle with the Haramain group as to the umrah numbers and stuff, because if you go on the ground, umrah is tough now, bro. There's so many people and it's really difficult.
It should be,
and there's no order. There's no order whatsoever. Sorry, stop. I shouldn't say that. I know the Haramain guys, they work really hard. They're a different faction of the Saudi government, and it's really, I understand the uniqueness of the challenge, and I also get that every problem they have is a problem at scale. There's just so many people, it's really difficult to manage. But I'm just saying, I think the concept of umrah and what umrah is supposed to be, it doesn't fit well with the capitalist model. I don't think that really works. But also on the other hand, there's some investments they've made that they have to see that one through to the end before they can.
Also, one thing on the capitalist model that you mentioned, one thing they mentioned, again, these are data from the Saudi government. Yeah. There were 3.5k volunteers in 2016 in the Haramain. In 2020,
For Hajj?
For the whole season, I think. Okay. But 2024, it was 150k.
Oh wow!
Volunteers. And then of course all the other personnel is increased, the medical and everything.
Plus, you went during Ramadan, which is the most chaotic time. It's
true.
It's more chaotic than Hajj.
Granted. So, no doubt. I'm just saying that in general, like when we went together, when we went on our first trip, Umrah of the Mandam, it was nothing like how it is now on the same period, same season. You got same time of the year, and it will be not. Bro, are you
talking about the fact that because you can't now pray on the
like the mataf?
No, in the walkways.
No, that's just, these are small consequences. I'm just talking about the fact that it's really busy, and B, there's no clear idea of how the haram, specifically if you're talking about Mecca, how it's managed. I don't know. There's no clear signage. It's really. I'm not complaining.
I just shown you signs
outright. No, I'm not complaining outright because I know it's a difficult thing, and I know that there's a lot of thought and planning and stuff that goes into it. I'm just saying that volume, I don't think should have been a particular goal for them, which is we want as many pilgrims to come as possible. I don't know if that was the wisest one to factor over some of the others.
No, I think the goal was more on the sense. But then again, like we should be able to facilitate at least 6 million.
Because that's a demand, right? People want to go to the Umrah.
Yeah.
But I think the point we're all brothers trying to make is instead of complaining from the West, look into the East.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Come invest in the East, live in the East, look into it, man. Instead of just complaining from the West. I think that's the whole point we're trying to make here, right?
Very blue question. How much longer you plan to go on for?
We can end now. I don't know why you lost it. We lost you 15 minutes ago. I've been watching you thinking this guy left the building. I don't know where you've gone.
To use the bathroom. We need to pray and I've got a meeting in 11 minutes.
All right,
I want to do all of that before then.
Let's wrap it up, man.
You want to bring in new topics? You know what I want to say? I want to mention, just really quickly, is how much Chai with my buy has adapted. This is not like our typical Chai with my buy format. This is different. I'm surprised.
Third episode we've done it.
In a way, you're like a green because you don't like change.
No, I love change.
No, I don't like change. I don't even know what the colours are. Oh,
growth.
Oh, it's funny. He doesn't like growth. No, I think he likes growth.
No.
What I mean is that
he doesn't get it.
This is a big deal. Like I was talking to somebody recently about how formulaic Chai with my buy is becoming. I don't think that's what Chai with my buy is. Obviously, we differ. In general about what Chai with my buy is supposed to be, but I think free-flowing discussion is definitely, it's one of the core tenets of Chai with my buy.
It's still rough around the edges, man, but I think every week I'm just trying to tweak little things with the help of you guys.
This one was long though, like too long. Look, it dragged a little bit. I feel like
it could be two.
I feel like before the Where's Brewing, we cut some of it.
No, we keep it. Let's keep it a free-flowing discussion.
Up until the Where's Brewing, I feel like it was good. After the Where's Brewing, I feel like the seat change and then
I think that's what killed it. That's what killed it.
Too much.
The flow was lost.
No,
plus also, I'm also.
I tell you what killed it was Abbas and Fawaz going on their phones. That's what killed it.
Wow.
No, but I'm saying also, I was 2 hours in there as well, just before this. Podcast back to back as well.
So then maybe prepare. Look. We're gonna have an evaluation session right now. Actually, if that's okay, because I like to read that right now. Very quickly.
I can't do that. I need to toilet.
We can walk as we walk.
Okay. Cool.
Anyways, let's bring this to an end. Inshallah, guys, we will be doing a live event soon, inshallah, and probably already is live, or maybe it's not. And we decided to scrap the whole idea by the time this comes out. Welcome to the roller coaster of the life of
all the dates have changed, and we've chosen more realistic delusional dates.
Anyways, with that said, guys, subhanak Allahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Assalamu alaikum.
Being in the position that I'm in, I get exposed to a lot of opportunities that most people would live and die never be exposed to. I obviously can't make use of all these opportunities. And in those situations, it just makes sense to share it with you. There is a brother who's helping brothers who have zero business experience start making money online. Within 90 days, the overwhelming majority of his students will start making money. He's got a student that secured a $48,000 deal within just 60 days. His students are making $10K a month. This is ridiculous because he's literally taking guys from zero to hero with Allah's permission. Now, I'm sure you've heard these type of claims before. And so have I, which is why I didn't really buy it until my previous sales director, my head of sales, came to me and said, listen, bro, this guy's program is different. Like, people are making money. Like, people when they join this program are not saying I was inspired. They're not saying I was motivated. They're saying I made bread with Allah's permission. So naturally, I had to get in touch with him. And I asked him, I said, Akhi, how do you do it? And he said, the process is simple. I help Muslims become solopreneurs where I get them to secure deals between brands and influencers. I show them how to structure the deal and make the cut in between. And I show them how to do it in a way that's halal. I have never seen someone whose program has got such a high success rate. And it makes sense. Why? Because this is not like a course that you're just going through. This is a hands-on mentorship. This is feedback loops. This is a very hands-on program. Now, with these things, there's always a catch. And the catch here is that it's very hard to get inside this program. They've had well over 10,000 applications and less than 2% have been considered. And more than 98% of those applications have been rejected. Now, I'd love to tell you that this is just like a scarcity tactic, but no, genuinely, like they are so obsessive about the type of people that they let through because they want to make sure they safeguard their success rate. So they want to make sure that you're actually qualified for the program. So look, if you're ready to stop watching others win and actually start winning yourself, and you've been looking for that golden opportunity, you can apply to join Brother Abu Lahya's marketing influencer mentorship at the link below. It's real. And inshallah, it could be that break that you've been waiting for, man.